Hello?
How's it going, man?
Good? Yeah.
About time we figured this out.
Huh?
About time we figured this out.
Yeah, bloody, yep, it says it's going out live, just checking.
Sweet.
I remember just being sat back, oh hey, you remember the bloody intro for the first one, just, are we live?
Yo, yeah.
Sound like some old man trying to figure out technology.
That's generally how I go about doing things on a regular basis.
Well, that thing of recently where, what was it, all the like late night comedy show hosts starting a podcast because of the writer's strike?
Oh, yeah.
Like John Oliver, he doesn't even know how to frame it.
I'm like really like disconnected from all that stuff, so like it's a mess. It's bad, man. Some of the movies that they're doing and changing, and I don't know.
It's pretty sad.
It's rough, man.
The films and stuff like that, they went from being something fun and enjoyable to go see, and now it's like, hang on, what the hell?
Like what is it? The Snow White movie or whatever they're coming out with.
They got an actress that doesn't even like the source material. What does that say?
It's rough, and they don't even, not even gonna use dwarves. Like it's just taking away, any like the dwarf actors. Hey, we're just gonna hang out here. I guess you guys can play our role.
I don't
know.
I think it was Mark Dice's comment, Snow White and her 7 affirmative action friends.
Yeah. Oh, that's perfect. Hi, Sabertoothy.
Yeah, I laughed when I heard that. I'd say my only one I liked more was one where it was something like Snow, Brown, and the idiots that glue themselves to things.
Oh, jeez.
Which I think is in reference to, all the climate protesters just stop oil.
That's a good way to get your ass kicked for some of those. If you went to some of those, museums that have those super expensive paintings, and you went over and wanted someone to do that, a can of hot soup or something on one of those like ancient, or something from the Renaissance or whatever. It was really expensive, priceless, and they threw like a can of like SpaghettiOs or some shit on there, and like that's a good way to get your ass whooped.
I love one video I saw. This to me was like peak stupidity of these people. Right, now everyone else goes around just gluing their hands to stuff, right? Something that you can easily just glue to a priceless work of art that's over 100 years old. But some idiot I saw decide, you know what, no, I'm gonna go a step further and glue my fucking head. And while he was doing that, someone just dumped a load of like tomato sauce on down his neck. And I'm just sat back thinking, like, these people gotta be doing it for attention.
Oh, for sure. There was one where someone, they used like concrete or something. They like put their hand in concrete and left it in there as a protest because they didn't want something to be, I don't know what it was, but they ended up cutting like, all right, we're gonna cut a square around your handprint, and then the lady had to walk around with a chunk of concrete for a hand, pretty much, for like they were trying to get people to help her. Hey, I need help. And, no, you do it yourself. You got to carry around your giant fist of concrete now.
Oh god, these people are just idiots. I mean, if they really cared about saving the planet and reducing carbon emissions, they won't be going around blocking traffic. Because, well, people when that happens, they don't shut their engines off.
I like what Zach said, those people that destroy art, or become art. Yeah.
Yeah. I love one comment I made to my dad the other day when we saw some stuff of them like blocking cars and cars just having enough and like driving around them and stuff. I wonder. I highly doubt. Well, you gotta wonder like where's the level of stupidity with these people? Because I don't expect any of them. Although I wouldn't be surprised if they were to try and set up a barricade and try and stop a road train.
Oh, give it a minute.
Like,
I'm surprised that hasn't happened.
I mean, I remember my dad saying to me, and he's driven trucks and stuff like that before, right? I mean, especially here in Australia, I think there's a limit over in America of like 36,000 pounds. So that's, what, 18 tons US?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Meanwhile, here in Australia, right? I can't remember what the limit is, but you get some trucks where they're carrying like 50-ton loads. Right? So,
yeah,
that's not going to stop in a hurry.
Well, here's the thing: is you know you've got that one crazy guy who either owns a tank here in America or has some kind of like school bus like decked out like some.
Yeah.
I'm waiting for the zombie apocalypse and I need to go test this bad boy out. And he goes to those destinations where people are, being idiots and blocking highway traffic.
You should see a video from, I think it's Australian Dashcam Owners, or Dashcam Owners Australia, where it's a video told something like what Australian truckers put up with on a daily basis. And it is just clips of these idiots thinking, you know what, I should be able to easily brake test this 50-ton semi-truck.
Jesus.
And then their entire back part of their car's stoved in like 3 feet.
We're dealing with a special kind of stupid these days, man.
My favourite one's the stuff that, what's his name, Joey B. Toons pulls up for his videos. Like, I can see why he titled one of his videos, "This is why I stay home." Because you just look at some of this stuff and it's like, oh god.
Right. Parent theorem, yes. I do play Path of Titans. It's just it's just not really on my radar at the moment. Kind of burn out on it at the moment. So yeah. So how you been, man? How's your week gone?
Good, just been working away on the line video. Ever expanding, as I've called it in community posts.
The screenshot of like, or I don't know if it's the screenshot or basically like your notes that you've written down for your alien big cat stuff. That is, you are dedicated, sir.
Well, hey, I noticed you don't really get that many videos out there on the Australian big cats. Like, there's tons of... I remember Googling it once, and all I was getting in terms of YouTube videos was stuff on the British cats. And all of the most of the videos I've watched on the Australian big cats, they're not that great. So, and they repeat a lot of falsehoods about the cats, so I'm just at the point where it's like, I'll do it myself.
Well, I have never even heard of like the Australian big cat thing. Anytime I've ever heard that, I've heard it like having just sightings in the UK. I've never over in the US seeing big cats. It's like it's either a mountain lion or bobcat or even just a big feral house cat or something.
Or in places like Arizona or Texas, you could just say it's a jaguar that's wandered over from Mexico's population.
Oh yeah, and then we recently there was a jaguar here. I think he passed away this year, but he was like out of the males that were running around or crossing the border between Mexico and Arizona and stuff. He was like the largest male, and he ended up passing away, I think, of natural causes this year. It was really cool.
Yeah. I remember reading an article I found on, I think it was Darren Naish's Tetrapod Zoology blog, back when it was on Scientific American. And I remember he did an article reviewing a book I have on the Australian big cat subject. And I think early on in the article, he said of how Alright, you have the British cats, the Australian cats, and then he mentioned American mystery cats. I noticed that they're like, hang on, America has them too. Like the... Yeah.
So when people say that, like, you see a lot of the people say like, oh, I've seen a black puma or black mountain lion and something. You see, that's probably like is really as obscure as it gets, or like people saying that they see stuff well out of their range. But mountain lions, they cover almost the entirety of the United States. So
yeah,
this may be different subspecies. Like Florida has the Florida panther.
Yeah, I was about to say, I think the Florida panther is considered its own subspecies, which just is an interesting photo I want to bring up for some people watching this. Hang on, where is it? I have too many bookmarks. Shuka Nature, I think it is. Carl Shuka's blog. Right. Black
Hello,
puma.
Rio.
Scroll down. Black puma. According to his article, these things, apparently there's no scientifically confirmed specimen. I mean, I've even seen people say this might not even, be a proper black puma, it might just be brown, dark brown. But as far as I know, this is the only photo in existence of a black puma, or supposed black puma.
Wow, that's either, yeah, that's like riding on the verge of black. I would say that's dark brown. You can almost see it. It's got like a white belly still. Or like, yeah, that's crazy. I've never seen one that dark.
Yeah, I remember being sat back thinking like, could it be something natural? But then I was sat back like, no, because that does look too dark. Admittedly, it's a black and white photo,
right?
But still, I just found that a bit interesting.
Well, man, I don't know. You don't really have much to compare it to. Like, you can compare it to the guy's shadow, his hat, or like the shadow of his hat.
Yeah.
There's brown and maybe some other lighter tones in there, but no, that's crazy. I've never seen anything like that.
I remember Gecko once when we were talking. I actually sent him this image, and he goes something like, "Oh yeah, I know they exist. I saw a taxidermy at one museum, and because of how rare they are, I just basically shit myself when he said that. Like, hang on, what?" And I just went to him. You basically found the needle in the haystack.
Yeah, that's crazy.
And then I remember we were going around trying to find images online of this bloody thing.
I wonder why that hasn't been like brought up before in any like. I've never even seen that in like books at all. I mean, the only time I've ever read anything like that was just seeing articles and whatnot on being supposed black mountain lions and all that, but I've never even seen like that picture in particular. That's kind of important,
Yeah, most people just, as far as I know, most people just brush away stuff like black pumas as being something of folklore. Like,
right.
Well, you have
like,
yeah,
there's like high melanin, and like there's a bit of melanin in almost anything except for your albino stuff, but that's also a genetic trait that pops up every now and then. But like you have there's a recent picture that popped up of like the tiger with this crazy high black melanin in it, and very little of this like original pattern was around. You could see it, but I don't know, it's really pretty.
I think Carl Shuka in his book Mystery Cats as Well Revisited actually talks about like different coloured cats, because, or at least from what I've seen from skimming around his blog, alright, you have the confirmed stuff of like white lions and tigers. Meanwhile, there's green tigers and lions, blue tigers and lions, black tigers and lions, red tigers. What the hell? They come in pretty much like every colour of the gay pride flag.
Yeah. That'll be their, mascot.
Just have like a rainbow-colored tiger on it next. Just stop adding all the random colors to it. Just have a tiger there.
You know, come on, we got to do something not as cool as a tiger. What would you? Let's see. I don't know. I think tigers are a bit cooler than lions. Just my opinion. I think their social, dynamics and stuff are real cool, but
Personally, I just prefer snow leopards and jaguars.
yeah, I like the more obscure stuff too. Well, even before, like, I'm going through this book. You convinced me into getting in. Like, I'm glad I got it because there's a cat in here. It's the bay cat or whatever it is.
Yeah.
That thing doesn't even. It's got like the head of a fishing cat, with kind of like slimmed down or like similar to like a Paulus cat, but with like a body similar to a jaguarundi or mountain lion. Just the proportions are just goofy to me.
It's
long,
weird.
lanky with a super small head.
It's weird what nature thinks of sometimes. Yeah, you're right. It does look weird.
That's
Looks like
crazy looking cat. It's really cool.
it looks like some weird gremlin.
Yeah, that would scare the shit out of me if I ever seen one of those. Because it'd be so like when I go herping in like different like states and stuff, and I'm pretty familiar with what kind of reptiles and amphibians we have here in Oklahoma, and all across the U.S. for the most part. But like anytime I go out and I try to find a certain species that I'm not like used to seeing or something, it takes me a minute because I'll go and like flip a board here and like, oh, it's a rat snake. It's just this black colored snake with a white underbelly, and then I see a rat snake or something I've never seen before under a board in a different state, and I'm like, hold on, give me a minute. I know what that is. And just, I don't know, it's something like when you see like an animal you've never seen before. I don't know. It's a weird experience. I kind of like take that in and like, why did it take me so long to figure that out when I knew what I was looking at? I don't know.
It's freaky what you get out of here sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In your area, you have like your marsupials. You have both gray and red kangaroos.
No, if I remember correctly, we have around here just big reds, but we do also have wallaroos, known around here as euros, which are a bit smaller. A lot smaller, actually. I'm not sure if like other marsupials besides roos and wallaroos exist around here, or I don't really know any. I think we get emus around here.
Are you guys, on good terms with the emus over there still, or are you guys are?
Yes.
Good.
No, I'm joking. They've taken over the entire country.
Well, be careful. You might run across a stead of them with like bionic eyes.
They have
Instead of the parrots.
They have enslaved the kangaroos and are putting them to work.
I don't know. The wildlife you guys got over there is incredible to me. It's like
I love one thing I
stuff I
saw.
really want to see.
But it was like I think it was a letter someone had written, or some note, of this one explorer. I think his name was William Dampier, and he explored Australia, and he wrote this one thing, I think it went, this land is cursed. The animals hop, not run. The birds run, not fly. The swans are black, not white. This land is cursed, and I'll have nothing more to do with it.
Holy shit. Oh yeah, dude, that's how I think, imagine like the first person from the UK or something,
Just
or
to rock
someone
up
who's never
here.
seen it before, go over there and see what they see, and then like say they went down to Africa and the first time they ever saw a fucking elephant. They've seen a hedgehog, and then they go to Africa and see an elephant, and you've never even seen one of those before, or you would probably think
close to it.
Yeah, a hippo, rhino, or anything, or I think giraffes were. I don't know. There was a lot of the kings and stuff back in the day. Maybe that had like exotic stuff, like
Well, yeah, here's
giraffes.
something. I remember reading, I think it was Carl Schuker's book on mystery cats of the world, and there was one part, I believe, in his chapter on British cats, which has its own entire chapter dedicated. It's like, I think, 40-something pages long, one of the longer chapters in the book. And if I remember correctly, one of the beginning parts said this one, like, historian of Britain in, like, I think it was 1700s or something, wrote something along the lines of, "Lions we have many of in Scotland." I don't know
That's
if that...
terrifying.
I don't know if that means they were actually like native lions or they were brought over. But yeah, I found that a bit weird.
And like there's some cryptozoology. What is it? Not the Beast of Bray Road. There was the something over there in the UK. It was like they thought it was like these giant wolves or something, or that was going around attacking people. And one of the thoughts behind it was an escaped lion that was going around killing people.
It seems like Britain has a lot of cryptid animals.
Well, if you think about it, they grew up dragons and fairies and.
Well, you have the
elves
dragons, fairies, the mystery cats, the black dogs, which have somewhat faded away, and then you have the werewolves.
Yeah, werewolves. Yeah, over here in the States, you got the dogmen.
Oh yeah, like the Beast of Bray Road in Wisconsin.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's very scary what you get out there with some of this stuff. Like, imagine it lurking around and it's actually real. I mean, like I've said to a couple people, when I've talked to people about the British cat, Australian cats, I'm pretty much a believer at this point from what I've read. And it's just one of those...
Yeah, I mean,
it's
with as much
yeah.
land you got that's out there, you have to. I mean, and your guys' zoos, you guys keep, In my head, I'm thinking like there's no one. The zoos out there, they don't let any kind of like animals in or out of Australia. But then again, I saw a video the other day of an orangutan throwing a possum out of its zoo, or out of its enclosure. My bad. Like he was at the very top of his tower with this possum, and he chunked it as far as he could.
I could imagine that already.
The people at the zoo who ran it were like, he was just getting rid of the pest. It wasn't supposed to be there, and you could all assume that it probably passed away when it hit the ground. And then like they came out with an apology like the next day saying, "Oh, we saw the possum scurry away with no bumps or bruises whatsoever, so he's okay." So they were trying to cover their ass, I think. But no, like I said, you can imagine. I mean, big cats getting out of their enclosures and people seeing them.
The main theory tossed around, or the one you see most circulated, especially by people who don't really know that much about the Australian mystery cats, is to have the USMN theory, which I guess can just be extended to just military in general, because I've seen people say it was Australian military men instead. But basically, Australian military men or American military men had panthers as mascots. They were told to destroy them. They were too attached, so they just let them loose in the wild. Which leads me to say, why don't you just drop it off at a sanctuary or zoo so that way you could visit after the war? I don't know. And you'd think with the way it's made out to be so common that people just had big cats in regiments just so commonly, you think there would be at least a couple reports of people dropping off big cats at zoos, but no. But anyway, Schuker in his book and another book I have just state plainly that at this point the airman theories is pretty much debunked, because there have been sightings like 6 decades before US airmen came to Australia during World War II. And not just that, but there's no way it can explain the sightings across the entire country. I mean, Australia is a big continent. There's no way the cats could spread so far within nearly 8 decades since World War II.
Right.
So,
Well,
it does seem like it's something else entirely. So, I remember Shuka saying it would be better to turn to stuff like circus, zoos, sanctuaries, stuff like that.
well, not just that. You have a safer bet of them being, taken care of, actually, instead of, possibly getting shot out there in the sticks or something.
Well, hey, we're talking a large predatory animal. If it decides it wants to hunt someone, it's going to become a real menace if it becomes a man-eater, and it's going to get shot. If you really cared for the animal, you wouldn't just dump it.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I don't know, you said going back 800 years, 8 centuries, right?
No, 8 decades, I think.
I thought you said centuries or something. I was like, that's a long time. But, no, 8 decades, yeah. There's plenty of zoos and, like, refuge and sanctuaries you could have.
If I remember correctly, there's even been, like, older theories tossed around, such as example one I think I mentioned in the USA Men video I did, of a guy named Samuel Wilson, where apparently he was a part of this sort of society known as the Acclimatization Society for Victoria. Basically, their whole objective was to give Australia more of a European feel by bringing in all sorts of wildlife, which is responsible for why Australia has stuff like feral cats roaming around. But if I remember correctly, they reckon that Samuel Wilson decided to bring pumas to the continent for some reason, which I find utterly stupid, considering the fact that, well, last time I checked, the whole thing was just bring over stuff that's beneficial for people. How is a dangerous mountain lion that loves to hunt children beneficial?
We've got dingoes for the children eating. We don't need no cats.
Yes, that role is already filled, and it's much cheaper.
They've been here a lot longer.
But so with the Samuel Wilson thing, I'm just sat back like, yeah, no way. Another one I found hilarious that I heard was that during a gold rush in Australia, people brought pumas over to protect their gold claims. Like, mate, guns exist.
That's interesting. That's something, man, because getting your normal house cat to do anything besides crap in a litter box is an extremely difficult task. And back then, like...
But no, I'm gonna chain a mountain lion to my fucking gold claim.
I've seen Star Wars. Jabba had a Rancor. We got mountain lion and pit. You trying to steal my shit? Clicks button, falls in mountain lion pit.
I just heard a voice in my head go, Alexa, release the puma.
Oh, yeah. I don't know, but you guys got some really interesting history over there. I know that... I'm sure I haven't looked into any of the crazy crap that we've done besides Oklahoma City Zoo having an elephant they got hooked on LSD. That was about it. Poor guy.
I don't really know that much about Australian history either. And from what I've seen, they basically don't want you learning anything of Australian history, because there might be some inconvenient truths there for some political agendas. But anyway, it is just weird, some of the stuff I find. Yeah?
That's great, man. I don't know. That stuff is... It's interesting to me seeing, like, different, like, how... I don't know, I'm kind of, like, I don't like anything the United States is doing right now, so I'm like looking outside, like, different anything different from the US is really interesting to me. Because, like, when I hear stories and all about Australia and South America and all this stuff is really cool.
I love another theory. I think it was on the iceberg as well that I sent you of I'm trying to remember, what was it? Phylacaleo. Some have proposed rats running around.
I think that would be... I wish you guys had, like, some big, goofy mammalian predator like that. Other than, like, the thylacine, like...
Yeah.
That I still think. I mean, that's still cool, but it still had like the basic anatomy of, well, similar anatomy to that of like a canine
It's
for the most part.
I'll just describe it as a discount dog.
Discount. That's more like an upgrade. But don't they? They had like, they were relatively powerful. Like they had like really tough bites and stuff, didn't they?
I can't remember. I remember reading some stuff saying strong bite force, then others said no, fairly weak. But I think I saw something saying they had a relatively strong bite force proportionally.
Yeah, I remember seeing the first time my dad and I were watching like Animal Planet, and we saw like the last bit of footage they had of the thylacine that was pacing back and forth in that zoo, and it died of dehydration or something. Like, you guys suck. That sucks, man.
I love how
they were really interesting looking, man. Crazy.
I love it of how they're like, okay, we've killed off this animal, right? We've shot it to extinction. Let's stick it on the Tasmanian coat of arms.
Right? Just to remind us how many times we, hey, this thing's really cool. Guess what? We killed them. All of them. They're all dead.
Here, just for the viewers to see what I mean, here it is.
No, I think that, like, Australia's fauna is insane. Especially some of the stuff you guys used to have, like the Protodon and Megalania and all them. Really interesting. And what's really weird is, like, your dinosaurs are, like, few and far between. You've got a handful of things over there, but nothing like crazy. You have like the one large titanosaur, right?
Australotitan. Except to my knowledge, it's relatively small for a titanosaur. I think I saw something saying estimates ranging from like 24 to 38 tons. Although at the higher end, that is pretty sizable. Although at the same time, then you look at Argentinosaurus at like, what, 80-something tons?
Yeah, that thing is... for the longest time, speaking of Argentinosaurus, for the longest time, I think everyone did. Everyone thought Giganotosaurus and like Argentinosaurus coexisted, and it turns out it was Mapusaurus and Argentinosaurus. That like blew my mind. I was like, I've been living a lie my whole damn life.
Yeah, I remember just being set back thinking that as well. My life is a lie.
Like everyone watching Jurassic Park 3 for the first time and seeing the Spinosaurus kill the T-Rex. Then growing up and turning out it's a giant crocodile pelican thing.
Just overgrown crocoduck.
Yep, they'll find a big or a more complete skeleton one day, and it won't even be a dinosaur. It'll be like a giant newt or something. Salamander.
You can imagine that already. Spinosaurus turns out to not even exist. It was just a giant salamander.
Yeah. Well, when I saw the one there was the Neotype doing the tour around the U.S., and it came to the Sam Noble Museum. And as soon as I walked around the corner to see it, the first thing that popped in my head is like, that's just a big salamander. That's all there is to it. I've seen crested salamanders or crested newts. This one's just cracked out.
It's hit the gym and it's taken a lot of steroids.
Yep.
It's become the mega salamander. The mega mander. It's like that one. It's like that post I put out where, what was it? Something like, Jaguars are just leopards that hit the gym. Changed my mind.
Yeah, dude, I laughed so hard when I first heard that. Like, you couldn't... Jags are just... They're so cool, man. Out of probably like the big 4 or 5 cats, like... Jaguars are just... They're so badass.
I love one of the comments. How can I change your mind when you're right?
Yeah. They're awesome. No, I'm excited to go through this book some more and actually kind of like read it. I was just kind of like thumbing through it before we started.
Yeah.
This is like my first time I've got to sit down and kind of like chill for the weekend or the week period. So.
I will admit I like this book. I'd definitely say it's one of my favourites. That, and my favourite part is they list off additional reading. So you can imagine I'm going to get all those books as well. I think I already have a couple of the books they list.
What I like about it is it doesn't get like insanely technical, like to where you're like reading like almost like
Scientific
Egyptian
paper.
hieroglyphs or some shit. And I don't know, it's really nice.
Yeah, that's the reason why I'd say I recommend that one a lot, because it is just so easy to read comparison to other books I have, and it doesn't seem all that technical. I mean, you read something else like Big Cats and Their Fossil Relatives, that's a bit of a technical book in some parts. Luke Hunter's Wildcats of the Wild, that's also somewhat technical. There's a lot of stuff of like differing territorial ranges for each cat, and prey percentages, right? So it's getting very technical there. Meanwhile, I feel like something like the Wild Cat book by Mel and Fiona Sundquist, that's something you could give a child as an introductory book on the subject.
Mm-hmm.
Versus their Wildcats of the Wild, which is a brick. I remember talking to Gecko, and I can't remember what we were talking about specifically, but I grabbed the book for some reason. I think it was on lions, and I dropped it on the table from like 3 or 4 inches up, and my ears rang. It was painful. I remember
No, you're gonna have to hire someone to come rearrange your floors. Get a carpenter to come out.
I remember he just went like, "What'd you do? Slam a fridge door or something?" And I just replied, going, "No, I dropped the book on the table, and my ears hurt."
The Dinosaur World book the one that you said you ordered and you're still waiting on getting, written by Evan Johnson.
It hasn't turned up yet at all. I'm starting to think
you could defend yourself from a house raid with that thing. If someone broke in your house, throw that at them. They're not getting up.
Actually, that reminds me, just while we're on the subject, of the Complete Dinosaur 3rd Edition. I've googled this too many times. Let's see, is there a release date? Release date. No, not yet.
So do they have the cover out for the 3rd edition for the Princeton book?
I'll check. The Princeton Field Guide to Dinosaurs. No, that's 3rd edition. I don't want 2nd, I want 3rd. Here we go. Come on, load please. No cover yet. It's just the Princeton University Press logo. I don't think there's going to be much of a change of the book, or at least in terms of an expansion, because I think the 2nd edition is 360. This list says 384. I'm assuming all
What they're
the...
going to do is update the picture to the Spinosaurus, and that'll be the only thing that'll change.
No, they might add some like more obscure dinosaurs. That'll be about it.
Yeah.
Oh, How to Clone a Mammoth by Beth Shapiro. My sister dislikes Ben Shapiro, and I remember one book I have, they list off this book as further reading, but you know how they cite these sorts of things, so it was B Shapiro or Shapiro B. So when I read that out, I just heard her go, "Not funny."
Starts hyperventilating. No, not him.
No, anything but him. Another one, she dislikes Matt Walsh, so I emailed her an image of him with the caption Matt Walsh jump scare.
Oh, yeah, I heard you talking about that in the Gecko episode.
The podcast.
Oh, yeah, the podcast.
I love that, just Matt Walsh jump scare. I'm going to include that in one of my videos and she'll never know. Just like quickly flash it up on screen at the beginning. Matt Walsh jump scare.
Have that old caption, it's like, surprise motherfucker, just Matt Walsh.
I can imagine that already.
It'll be done. By the time this thing's over, someone's already got it. We'll have it circulating.
Yeah, next minute a video pops up on me for Calvin the Carnotaurus, and I just click on it, and my ears start ringing as I just hear loudly, Matt Walsh jump scare.
Yeah.
Should make it a meme on the channel.
I think, I wanted to get back to on this Wildcat book. There needs to be, maybe this is too much to ask for, and like, I don't know, maybe I would like to see like like Tyrannosaurs or like Carcharodontosaurs or like Allosaurs, something like that, kind of like a book that's like dialed in like this with a description that's really nice and clean as this book.
Yeah, I wish there was. Well, I remember just being sat back thinking like a bunch of books I'd love to see on animals, such as one I'd love to see something like a Donald F. Glutt's book, Dinosaurs the Encyclopedia, where you have all the introductory stuff at the beginning of like the history of discovery of dinosaurs, their relationship with birds, are they warm-blooded or cold-blooded, stuff like that, and then it has then it has their own dedicated sections for each dinosaur, and some of the pages for each dinosaur can be like 15 pages, I think, for T-Rex, depending on just how much information is known about the animal. And I'd love to see a book like that, but it's on mosasaurs, for example. I reckon you could make a fairly decently sized book with a lot of information in there just on mosasaurs.
For sure. There's like, you could, especially with mosasaurs. Especially with mosasaurs kind of being, they're like, outside of your large pliosaurs, they're like the underwater T-Rex pretty for the most part, and everyone.
Yeah,
even people who aren't too familiar with dinosaurs or prehistoric life themselves, they've seen Jurassic Park, and
Yeah, not just that, but is there really any books out there dedicated to mosasaurs? Closest thing I can
anything off the top of my head.
Closest things I can think of in terms of books is Ancient Sea Reptiles by Naish, Paul's Princeton Field Guide to Mesozoic Sea Reptiles, and Everhart's Oceans of Kansas. But, well, I think mosasaurs in Naish's book only get 16 pages total, and that book's nearly 200. That's not a lot.
I haven't checked it in a minute. Is that just Mosasaurus itself, or like the other different species?
If I remember correctly, that's if I remember correctly, it covers stuff on their diversity and then the individual subfamilies. With at the very end of that chapter there being one simply titled Mosasaurus and its kin. So, yeah, it's talking mosasaurs as a whole.
Honestly, with so many species, you have you could do a bunch. I know we probably, a lot of the stuff that we have from the smaller mosasaurs is probably pretty fragmentary, but there's so much you can do there. You got species that are like, hit the 8 foot mark. They're like get as big as 8 foot, and then all the way up to however long mosasaurs get.
Well, let's just scroll down here. I think this website has just a list of all their mosasaurs listed. Look, that's how many? Just zooming in a little. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44. 44 genera.
Yeah, you could do a nice hefty book with that one.
And the thing is, right? Well, think about it. If I remember correctly, Naish in his book says that the genus Prognathodon has about 10 different species.
Well, I didn't know that, and Prognathodon is like one of my favorites. That's crazy.
Right?
And then you see right there on that article on the side of that, it said Giganotosaurus, T-Rex.
But yeah, right, so just 10 species are aligned for Prognathodon, and then I think it's like 7 for Tylosaurus, plus like 5 dubious ones. So you could write a massive book on mosasaurs if you were to go onto the species level.
Wow. I never even thought of that. I'm like so out of touch with like anything outside of like the dinosaurs. I knew that. And that's kind of why I got that book in the first place, was Ancient Sea Reptiles and the Princeton book.
Yeah, I was thinking of getting those 2 books as well, just to sort of diversify out a little. Because it's always just good to know this sort of stuff.
Oh yeah, especially when it comes to like making videos. You have, it's cool to get up on your phone and go through your credible websites. But if you got a couple of books and stuff,
Yeah, I mean, currently I think I have about 2 books with stuff on mosasaurs. Oceans of Kansas 2nd edition, and then Naish's book. But then, if we just hop on archive.org, I found a lot more books with stuff on mosasaurs. Admittedly, some are quite old, I believe. But they should still do. Just scrolling down through my ever-growing list. I think we have some around here. This one, Reign of the Sea Dragons, which, well, I think that's more of a kid's book. Where's the next one? Here, Sea Dragons by Richard Ellis, a book I was pretty interested in getting, so I'm happy to have found it. What's this? I think that's just another thing. Dinosaurs, Spitfires, and Sea Dragons. Didn't think it was on there. Ancient Marine Reptiles, which I think is a bit like the Dinosauria, in the fact that it's not just one author, it's multiple contributing each chapter. So, there's quite a lot of stuff. But I don't think there is a mosasaur dedicated book. But yeah, I have a lot of stuff now for if/when I do a mosasaur video.
I'm surprised myself I don't have that Oceans of Kansas one. We've kind of like, well, my sister and my brother-in-law, we've kind of worked with the one of the museums up there. I can't remember which one off the top of my head. I think it's it's the Sternberg's Museum of Natural History, and we've kind of, my brother-in-law and my sister went to like there was some studies going on about like a species of rat snake, Panthrophis. Was it Panthrophis obsoleta shrinkeri, which is a Great Plains rat snake? I think it's probably changed a bit, but there was a certain locality of them. There's a certain subspecies that is like, we didn't know it was in Oklahoma for sure, and we managed to catch 2 or 3 of them and bring them up to that museum. It was pretty cool.
I haven't really read much of Oceans of Kansas beyond, I think, the first 2 introductory chapters, and then the one on mosasaurs. I basically just skipped just one of mosasaurs after reading the first 2 chapters, because that was my main interest in getting that book. But yeah, I would definitely recommend it. There's a lot of stuff in there talked about. I think, well, it mainly focuses on Kansas and its history with fossils. So think of it as sort of a book that both goes over their biology, but then also our history of study with them. Specifically in Kansas, that's the main thing about it. And I think in there he says something like 1,000 specimens of mosasaurs have been dug up in Kansas.
Holy shit.
Yeah, I remember just being set back like, Christ, I didn't think that many were even known. I mean,
Wow.
there's like what 60-something T-Rex specimens. Meanwhile, there's like over 1,000 things of mosasaurs known. On Mosasaurus itself, Tylosaurus, Clydestes, I think it's called, and many others. These
That's insane.
well, like I remember Everhart detailed in his book about it. Now, I think in Darren Nasher's and Paul Barrett's book, Dinosaurs How They Lived and Evolved, they say that the mosasaurs were sort of dying out by the time the Cretaceous ended. But as Everhart points out in his book, which I think was released a year before Nash put out the second edition of Dinosaurs How They Lived and Evolved, it seems more so like, out of anything, the mosasaurs were actually at their peak by the time the Cretaceous ended. And that if the meteorite didn't hit, they most likely would have stayed dominant.
Damn meteoroid. Taking out all the cool shit. I'd love to see like where some of that stuff is like would have. I mean, we probably wouldn't be here, but you know.
True. I reckon it'd be cool though.
Oh no, like
I've seen some stuff around of reports of mosasaurs that might still be around, but I'm sort of skeptical.
when it comes to ocean life, I want to. When I think of my piece of it, like I think, you know, when people are like, "Oh, Megalodon still exists," like, no, silly.
Yeah. All you have to
But,
say is just no.
Yeah. I don't know. Like, I imagine there's some creepy, crazy under. You know, once you get so far down, it's like things just get fucking weird, man.
Well, there's been one
And-
person. Sorry to interrupt. Well, I've just been talking with this one person here and there about the Australian big cats.
Mhm.
And I remember he mentioned some sort of like cryptid that was found from a bathysphere dive, right? Where they went down something like 2,000 meters near the Mariana Trench, I think it was. And they saw some sort of weird fishes. I think there was like 3 different fish. But they haven't ever been seen since. So they've fallen more so into the category of cryptid. But I remember him going, I find those more believable than a large extant carnivore lurking around. And that, I think, was in reference to the Australian big cats. And if I'm going to be honest, I can see why he said that. Because there is a lot of stuff not explored in the ocean.
Yeah, I kind of agree with that. When it comes to, yeah, it's way more believable because alien big cats to me. Maybe it's just because it's not nearly as exciting. When someone says alien big cats, the first thing that pops in my head is that someone let their pet lion or tiger out, or misidentified large tomcat or some shit, and then it's
Yeah.
when you look at, you know, stuff that's been found thousands of feet under the water, and that's, yeah.
I remember seeing something where it was, I think it was about the alien big cats in Britain. I think this one was from the YouTuber Dr. Polaris, who to my knowledge is more of a skeptic on this subject. Of just,
He's got like the polar bear profile.
yeah,
right?
yeah, he's the one.
Yeah, okay.
But yeah, as far as I know, people like him and Travia Explainer, they're just full-on skeptics on this sort of stuff. And I remember he just tried to brush the whole thing away as nothing more than lunacy. And I remember in there, one thing he brought up was this one Facebook post someone made of them supposedly photographing a lion in, I think it was like, oh, I can't remember most of these British names. I mean, they all blend together, right? There's something Shire, something Tin, something more, right?
Yeah.
That's
Oh,
pretty much like all of Britain. But anyway, I remember that one there of the Facebook post of them supposedly photographing a lion. Later turned out to be someone's really hairy ginger cat.
Oh man.
Ima-
Those are the people who have never left their house before, and they probably weigh over 300 pounds.
Yeah, I mean, here and there I look over, I look at some of the supposed footage of alien big cats here in Australia, of supposed panther's caught, and I just sit back and I go, that's a domestic.
Mm-hmm. I don't know if you saw the one, but it happened in the UK. It was a picture of it was like a black panther loose in England or whatever, a shire somewhere. I don't know.
Yeah.
It was sitting on this picnic bench, and with the picture, this was on the news. It's like, oh, strange big cat, and it's just a normal cat chilling on a picnic bench out in a park. They made this big giant scene about it, and the lady thought, I'm gonna report this to the news, but just a cat hanging out.
Although at the same time, when I look at some of the stuff on alien big cats, I'm just sat back thinking they're here. Even if some of the footage, most people just look and go, yeah, that's domestic, and I agree. Because, well...
No, they're definitely there. I mean, I agree that they are there, but it's nothing like... I think it would be cool if you guys had like a species of cat that somehow got there that's not related to anything at all. Like, Australia had their very own species of cat, which is, I don't know.
I could already imagine, like, the next day when it turns out the Australian big cats are confirmed, and if they're like their own species, you could imagine already Australian big cat versus lion. Who's the king of the beasts?
Oh, for sure. And they'll have those cheesy little the YouTuber we were talking about, W8 Watap or whatever. I don't know how you say his name. It's WATOP or something. He would be the first person to make some big cheesy thumbnail. And
hang on, let's see if we can find today's channel. What up? This the one?
A little bit slow on my end. Stream is, but no, I think if you guys had like, I do like the idea of a continent having its own thing that besides the American possums and stuff, ours suck compared to your guys still, but yeah, that's the one, that dude.
I love the sort of stuff you get out of it. What's this? Hang on. Giant monkey that destroyed dinosaurs. P.S. Thank you for being extinct. The dude does understand, like, primates came out millions of years before these animals died out. The non-avian ones.
It hasn't done it yet. I want to see this.
Oh, here's one for you. Right. Recent extinct...
What a beautiful bacon and eggy brekkie.
Just turning this down a little bit. Ow.
Giant ancient monkey that destroyed dinosaurs.
15 recent photos of newly extinct animals. Let's see this. Do they have the flying pterodactyl thing they had in the image?
The roping? I think that's what they called it.
No, I don't think it's there. But I believe I know what photo that is. I'll just increase the thingy. The zoom in. And scroll all the way back down to it. Yeah, here we go. Right, so 15... And they have this pterodactyl looking thing. You can tell this is fake straight away. And I don't even know that much about pterosaurs. But the way I know it's fake is the fact it has bat-like wings. If we just Google pterosaur. No, not pterosaur.net. Pterosaur. Right? It's this straight finger. There is nothing. There's no bat-like extensions running through it. Meanwhile, this has...
If you check out like some of the old school dinosaur cinema movies and stuff, they've got them that look just like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love that picture right there, the Quetzalcoatlus and the Pteranodon.
I love the comment on the live stream. This guy is probably worse than Mega Top 10s. Yeah, probably.
Oh, for sure.
I love one thing where I think they did a video tells them from like prey stronger than a lion, and they're going on about gorillas. Like, this dude does understand, right, that Gorillas are no way stronger than lions.
There's the whole grizzly bear versus gorilla thing. That is the dumbest argument. Oh my god, man.
How's that even still a debate?
I don't know. And then this is probably I do listen to Joe Rogan podcast because some of the people he does have on there are actually worth listening to.
Yeah.
And he's a relatively intelligent person too. So, but he keeps going on and bringing these people on about the whole lion killing chimps or whatever, or leopard killing chimps. And the study that had gone on was a lady was sent out there and she thought the chimps looked a little bit different than what a normal chimp was.
Oh, yeah.
And they got DNA from it, and there's no difference, lady.
Yeah. I love it. What were they called again? The Billy Apes?
Yeah, Billy Apes.
I think they were trying to hype them up as, like, lion killers.
Mm-hmm.
But I think the only thing they ever found of them was one scavenging a leopard carcass.
Yep. And then it's like super blown out of proportion. Like a lot of this stuff is it's weird how when people who are totally out of animals and like dinosaurs and stuff, and then they see things, and it's not. I'm not shitting on any of those people. It's just they just don't know. But it's crazy to think of. Well, someone said this, so it's got to be true, kind of thing. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, I sort of dislike it when you see people talk about this sort of stuff and they don't really know that much. Admittedly, I mean, all I do is read books. I'm not an expert on this sort of stuff. But at least I have somewhat of an educated guess on this sort of thing.
Right. So, with all your books and stuff, you get a good idea on how like animals
behave, act, whatever.
Behave and react, and and when you hear stories of like they tried to was it a 50-foot or a 60-foot snake was viewed from a plane in the Nile River or something. And do you guys ever stop to think that maybe that guy was full of shit? This is like, I don't know.
I remember coming across a Tumblr page, right? I've made a couple. I remember making a few cryptid videos, although since I think privatized them all, since I don't think really any of them were that good. But I remember one was of giant snakes, and I just showed off. I couldn't even be bothered writing a script for that part, so I just went here, I'll show off this Tumblr page. And you should have seen some of the lengths they had reported. It's probably still somewhere here on my computer. But they were like, well, you had stuff like more reasonable, such as 20 feet. But then you had 25, 30, 40, 50, 60. I think the largest there was nearly 140 feet. What the?
Oh man, that's a kaiju.
What does an animal?
That's gonna be fighting Godzilla.
What does an animal that big eat?
I guess at that size, it's whatever it wants, really.
It would have to eat whatever comes within range of it.
That's insane.
I know.
I still think like Titanoboa or Titanoboa, however you want to say it, is. That still blows my mind. And then you see like, oh, this thing could have ate dinosaurs. It didn't even live with the dinosaurs, right? It was like.
Actually, that just reminds me of one video I remember seeing. Let me see if I can find it. Here we go. Something.
Hungry Jack's.
Mute. Something they call El Diablo. A soldier's story from Honduras, from wartime stories. I like these guys. I watch a fair bit of their stuff. But I find this one very unbelievable. Where is it? Here we go. Right, so you have the snake come out, slithers over. And if I remember correctly, they stated it knocked these cows over. and it just flattens their skulls by slamming its head down on them. And apparently this thing moved extremely fast.
Huh.
Like, if you know anything about snakes, I'd be very skeptical upon hearing that story. I mean, there might be some truth to it. They might have seen a snake come out of the water, but... Well, first off, since how could a snake that big exist in today's ecosystem for starters? And alongside that, snakes have
just let them knock them over.
Snakes are just they have very weak skulls, if I remember correctly. They're not designed for head bashing.
Nope.
So, and not just that, but since when does a snake kill by ramming its skull onto another animal's skull? Also, check their constrictors. Or, if they're venomous, they just shoot the thing up with venom.
There are, I have a bunch of snakes at home. I got 12 of them. But, there are snakes that use kind of more like a blunt force trauma thing. Like, they're in the same family as, like, those constrictor, like your, I don't know, king snakes and, like, your corn snakes and stuff. Your real common things. What they'll do is, like, they don't constrict, but they'll use part of their body, like, to pin it up, like, whatever they grab. They'll pin it up against a rock or a tree or something, and then they go at it so hard, and just kind of like the animal that gets hit is, like, either stunned by what the hell's happening, or they just kind of asphyxiate it without, like, the constriction and whatnot, just pressing it up really hard up against that's about as, like, anywhere close you get to, I guess, brushing things.
Yeah, and if I remember correctly, they said at some point in the video that this thing moved lightning fast. Well, like I remember my dad saying to me when I was watching something about that movie, Anaconda, since when do you see a snake move so fast that when it turns a corner it skids? Or drifts?
Yeah, that movie was just something else, man. Watching it, was it like wrapped up in that tree real quick, or it was like on the boat, wasn't it? It was like the way how fast it climbed the was it a mast or something, or some kind of I haven't seen it in so long, but it like climbed extremely fast. I was like, "There's holy shit!" And the skidding part, yeah, that was insane.
But yeah, I don't think there's ever been a snake that could move that fast.
I think the black mamba hits like 14 miles an hour.
Let's see, what fastest snake in the world, because Google has all the answers. Black mamba, 23 kilometers an hour. Kilometers an hour to American. Nearly 14.3 miles an hour. So, yeah, you're about right.
That's pretty quick.
Yes.
I know that you guys got some of your elapids over there. They move like crazy quick. Nothing like that, but you guys got some fast stuff over there too.
Yeah. Although, even though they might not be as fast, we have stuff way more venomous.
Oh. Like the top 20 or top 10, 20 most venomous snakes are over there.
Actually, hang on. I think I showed off in a video of the chart I found on Twitter or something of the most venomous snakes in Australia. Where is it? Not here. I'm trying to remember which one. Obviously gotta mute this because copyright reasons. BLM right.
It's your own page.
somewhere.
Anti-furry.
Meet the anti-furry. Actually, I think it might have been in there. Yeah, thousands of
Lord.
What sort of shit do I include in these videos?
I'm under the idea that you're not sober when you're making them. And then you have questions like you just asked. I don't remember even putting any of this in there.
Well, I forgot this one existed. How much does that weigh?
Hold on, was that Kanye meeting with Hitler?
Yep. I love this one. Dude said they're going to strike me down, Zeus. You don't have the balls. He does have the balls, mate. He do have the balls. Come on, where's this image? I think I right-clicked that video.
No, you guys got your type. You got inland taipans, coastal taipans, eastern brown, king brown, western brown, red belly black.
Yeah. Okay, finally found it. Yeah, so anything that isn't red is foreign. So we have inland taipan, eastern brown, coastal taipan, eastern states tiger snake, Reeves Bay Island tiger snake SA, beaked sea snake, Western Australian tiger snake, Chapel Island tiger snake, Bass Strait, deaf adder, guada or eastern brown, Australian copperhead. Then we just have Indian cobra and black mamba, dugite or spotted brown snake, Papuan black snake, yellow banded snake, rough scaled snake, then king cobra, blue bellied black snake, collet snake, king brown or mulga snake, red bellied black, then small white snake, spotted snake, and eastern diamondback rattlesnake. So
just looking at this, all of your stuff belongs on there. Their Indian cobra has no reason being on that list, and it's the eastern diamondback shouldn't be on there, and the king cobra, the only reason why it's so venomous is so bad is because when it bites you, it like dumps the venom yield on them things is ridiculous. You get loaded.
Yeah,
with the venom.
I think I saw something saying they put in like 3 times what a king brown can.
Yeah. They just absolutely dump all their venom in you, and it's insane. But no, I don't think anything in the United States shouldn't even be in the top 20.
Well, I just found that funny with that chart of how the United States just makes it in with the diamondback.
Oh yeah, barely. Yeah.
Meanwhile,
We're
next
on
minute,
some kind of list.
next minute you just see the bloody new species discovered in Australia, and you just see diamondback get kicked out. Bugger off.
Yeah.
Right, now one thing I just want to do is similar to what I did with Gecko, where I just have a bunch of questions listed off. So we just have the general questions that I just plan to have for anyone on, then ones specifically written up for you. In case you're wondering, all of them pretty much are about the mystery cats, since you mentioned them on a live stream. But anyway, so general questions first. What would you say got you interested in dinosaurs?
I think this is kind of, I don't know, maybe the everyone's answer, Jurassic Park or something. But my dad, he was really into them. He was really into dinosaurs and reptiles and stuff. And when I was born, like a few months, or I'd say, I don't know, 6 months after that, he took me to go watch the original Jurassic Park. Of course, I don't remember it, but that was just kind of like, I guess, a gateway into it, because after that, he like unloaded all these classic dinosaur movies onto me when I was a kid. And that pretty much is what got me in there. And then going to museums and just books and books. My grandpa, he was the only atheist in the family, and he was like pro science everything. And he let me go to the library with him one day, and he let me rent like 2 or 3 books. And one of the first books I got was a book on like baryonyx. And I think there was, of course, T-Rex and some other book, but yeah, pretty much just family members.
What got you interested in YouTube?
YouTube, so going around and seeing like growing up, there was very few dinosaur games like Dino Crisis and like Jurassic Park Warpath and stuff, and all those. And then like my sister and I were wanting a newer, more up-to-date video game about dinosaurs, and we found like The Isle, and then like, of course, we saw stuff from like Gaming Beaver. But the thing is, originally when I wanted to start doing YouTube, I didn't want to do video games. I thought it'd be a cool little side thing to do, but I always wanted to kind of do it more on the like educational side of things. But I also have a great fear of talking. I got like talking on a mic or a camera or anything, so it's kind of like, we'll just do video game stuff. And
That's basically the opposite of how it went for me.
Yeah.
I originally wanted to start doing gaming. I was playing, I think, Fortnite Saved the World at the time. But then that game died. And then just moved on from there. And then I found out about cryptozoology via Travia Explainer's video on Mothman. And then, yeah, just started making stuff on animals, dinosaurs, whatever.
That's... You beat me to the punch. I wanted to do like I heard I watched some of your stuff, like was it the Alamosaurus video, and that was kind of like wanted me to go back in that direction. And then if you watch some of like the YouTube videos I was doing, the like my first few I'd play like each individual dinosaur on Path of Titans and stuff, and then I got to the point where I like would start talking about the dinosaur, and I'd like throw up an image here and there, and then I was like, what if I did like a 5-minute long description of said dinosaur, whatever we were playing, or like and then I was like, all right, I'm about burnt out on the dinosaur side of things. I'd like to kind of like go along with like expanding my knowledge, and then people who are like, when it comes to the more obscure stuff, I was like, I got a lot of friends that are just don't know, and they're really into dinosaurs, and I figured, it'd help me learn, it'd help develop a couple skills, like being able to talk on a mic in front of people, and this, that, and the other. I have horrible stage fright. Like at one point I was at not this wedding, but a wedding a few years back, and it was like, do your best man speech. I don't remember what the hell I said. I just got sweaty, and that's it. That's all I remember is like, do a speech, and I don't remember what I said. It's like, my anxiety went nuts, but
yeah, I'm very nervous as well.
I have a propensity to ramble and all that stuff. I don't know, I've talked to a bunch of other YouTubers, and they say, it comes with, time. You'll get used to it, kind of thing. So, like, the video, the Mesozoic morning thing I've got, I, like, recorded it all the other day, and I'm listening to myself, like, dude, you ramble a lot. Like, I jumped from, like, I needed to, like, narrow it down, and, like, yeah.
Yeah, I remember, I think, watching one of your videos. I think it was about Path of Titans getting some new update for like aquatic animals. And I think it was you saying of how there doesn't seem to be much in the way of diversity for animals for the aquatic stuff. So it's going to be very barren. And I noticed there was a fair bit of rambling and a lot of just awkward pauses.
Yep.
Like for me, I just cut everything out that's over like even half a second when it comes to pauses.
Right. That's any kind of tips anyone can give me. I take it all in and I like try to narrow it down. Like,
yeah, I try and remove as much in the way of like me breathing as possible. I don't want to be sat back going something like the Australian big cats are known to something.
Deep breath. Well, I also kind of like, I know that when it comes to like writing a script and stuff, I don't want it to be. I'm horrible at reading from a script because when I'm reading from it, I like, man, I could have thrown this in there when I've already gone through and I thought I've proofread it, and yeah, so the episodes I kind of want to do are like more of a nonchalant, chill podcast kind of style, like more so just casually discussing the animals, like throwing in the facts and stuff, and then similar to this, but a little more on topic, of course. All right, next question.
Yep. Hang on, what were we on? What got you interested in YouTube? Okay, now, any particular projects you'd like to make for YouTube? Well, I guess this is your Mesozoic morning thing.
Yeah, that's it right now.
Yeah, just the mini podcast you plan to do. Sort of mini podcast, so guess just skip that question. So, thoughts on modern paleo media?
Well, you have the good, the bad, and the ugly. Kind of. You have people who just, crazy. Like we were just talking about, over exaggerate things and make it something it's not, and then you have the really good stuff, like I think Dr. Polaris, the guy you mentioned, he's really good. I like him. I like Ben G. Thomas and I like Edge. And I think there's these guys. If you look, right. No, you just got to be able to weed through the bullcrap, pretty much. There's plenty of good stuff out there, and there's like, they're not all these, rednecks with. I hate to talk shit on Robert Backer, but they all don't look like him or Jack Horner. There's some young guys out there, just they have a good like. They don't try to fill you up with big words. They're more relatable to the younger audience and stuff, and I feel like that's helping. I don't know.
Yeah, you're right about having to weed through all the stuff.
You got a lot of people who just, there's a lot of crap out there. Then you have a lot of guys that are coming up that are, hey, don't believe this. This is full crap. And then I don't know. It's really good. There's good and there's bad.
For me, I'm just at the point where I don't really watch much in the way of paleo YouTube.
Yeah.
I mean, this just gets so annoying. Really, the only time I watch much is in case there's like any sort of new news. Like, I don't really watch Edge that much, but I made sure to check out his video on the T-Rex's free species video. I mean, in paper.
That was really interesting.
It was something.
Well, it's like there is a lot of diversity when it comes to the skulls of Tyrannosaurus, but like I don't think it was enough to warrant three different species.
Mm-hmm.
I think that was like some of the key points, right? Was like it was the teeth in the front or stuff.
If I remember correctly, it was based on tooth arrangement and femur size.
Yeah, I don't remember the femur part. I remember I think it was in the maxilla or the premaxilla.
I think most of the stuff was focused around the teeth.
Mm-hmm.
Although, like I remember quite a few people pointing out, like David Hone with his thoughts on the paper. you gotta be careful and very cautious when doing stuff on T-Rex because, well, it's such a popular animal that any sort of new discovery, if it turns out to be flawed, that'll take decades to undo in the public's mind.
Well, yeah, that's, when I mentioned to you about, like, jumping into even doing a video on Tyrannosaurus, like, that's such it's almost intimidating, because you screw up, you're gonna look stupid. And then, like, you'll stay looking stupid for a while. And then, I don't know, you've got to just, really pay attention to,
Yeah.
the papers you use and your sources.
Just anything in general. I mean, I remember with my Thylacine video, right? I had part in there where I was going on about how dingoes killed them, and then someone pointed out of how there was some paper that came out saying no, humans were actually a more likely culprit than dingoes. So it seems like the idea it was dingoes is now just something of the past. They might have still played a partial role, I believe, but it seems like humans were actually the more main factor.
I could see that.
And I think I actually came across something. Well, I remember saying to the person, I think I actually came across something about it while researching the Thylacine video, but I never read it. So I never added that to the video, beyond just like one part where I mentioned humans might have played a role. So that part of my Thylacine video is outdated.
Well, hey, it gives you an excuse to come back and clean it up. And
Yeah, I've been meaning to do it with a lot of my videos. There's quite a few videos I want to redo. T-Rex video, Acro video, Saurophaganax, Mapusaurus, alongside the Dinosaur King videos. And that's about it I can think of. Well, really, now that I say that, just anything I've made up until my Alamosaurus video.
Right.
I
liked your Alamosaurus video.
Yeah, I'd say that is probably my best one so far. So I think anything past that will probably get redone in the future. I've actually scheduled the Wedge-tailed Eagle redo to go up on September 30th, so the same date the original video went up. Since it's the first dinosaur I've ever covered on the channel. And then, of course, I plan to do it with all the others at some point, like the T-Rex one, the Acro one, especially the Acro one, since I have a Carpenter's book.
It's a fantastic book, man. I like it a lot.
Yeah,
that one and the Bone Wars of McCurtain County, those are both good books. The Bone Wars doesn't necessarily go too much into depth of Acro itself, but it does kind of go into, like, some of the legal stuff that went to, like, the bones and, like, hopping around to different museums and stuff. Before we go to the next question, this is a question for you. So do you consider Saurophaganax its own thing, or would you rather have it called Allosaurus maximus?
I'm honestly not sure, and I was even thinking of doing a video reading through all the scientific papers on Saurophaganax to actually check through and make a video on this and give my own thoughts. But papers...
To be determined, everyone.
But scientific papers, I don't typically read through them because they have a lot of big brain words I've yet to learn, and they can be very lengthy. And not just that, but I think it should be kept in mind that, well, Saurophaganax is a very fragmented animal, so it's probably still going to remain unknown. But considering the fact that most paleontologists, as far as I know, still call it Saurophaganax rather than calling it A. maximus, I think I'm still going to call it Saurophaganax for now. I think there's something about material from New Mexico that was described of Saurophaganax, but I don't really think much has been mentioned on it. So that'd be something interesting to check out. Maybe you'll get mentioned in the Dinosauria 3rd edition if that's ever done.
Yeah, the stuff that we have from Sorfaganics or Sorfaganics, how you want to say it, is we've got like mostly vertebrae and some postcranial stuff, and I think maybe some tail bits.
Well, actually, hang on.
It's very, very fragmentary.
Where is it?
I don't know if it's enough to. I don't know. I guess I don't know if it's enough to warrant its own thing, but like I'm kind of on the same fence you are. I got to go through and just.
Okay, here we go.
Look at it.
Here we go. Oh my god. Right, so this one website that looks ancient, they have the material all listed for Soro. Holy phalanx, ungule, phalanx, caudal vertebrae, partial scapula, incomplete scapula, distal tibia, mid-cervical vertebrae, manual phalanxes, incomplete fibula, posterior dorsal. There's a decent bit of material, although yeah, it does seem very fragmented. We got a femur and a tibia, and one metatarsal. Oh, no, a couple metatarsals. Seems like Jesus Christ.
Yeah, I'll definitely be looking forward into checking that video out once you get to it.
One of the problems, though, is I think one of the papers I was looking for actually costed money to buy, or to actually view.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't really feel like wasting money. I'm not really making money on YouTube yet. And I think I will just save that video for once I'm a bit bigger of a channel. Anyway, on to the next question. Thoughts on the paleontology side of YouTube? Well, I guess you sort of answered that when on the paleomedia thing. With the paleomedia, I was just talking like films and shows.
Oh, films and shows. Yeah, Jurassic Park is like, I guess, dominating. So when it comes to that side of things, that kind of entertainment, it's really hard to go into a different direction. Like with the movie 65, you can't. That movie was god awful. And
all I can say is, thank God it ended sooner than I thought it was going to go on for. Beyond
was that like, at the end of that, was that like a giant Postosuchus or supposed Postosuchus or Prestosuchus or something?
I think they called it Thalassosuchus or something, which is apparently a real animal. It's just that they've, well, obviously, grossly over-exaggerated it for the film. To the point that I just remember people calling it quadrupedal T-Rex.
Yeah. There was a, speaking of that animal in particular, there was a Acrocanthosaurus video. It was Acrocanthosaurus was an absolute predator. That's what the title of it was, and it had, for some reason, it had that thing on there, all fours and everything.
Oh,
if I could find it later, I will send it to you just for the thumbnail. But like, back to the paleo stuff.
Hang on, I'm just googling it. Was an absolute.
It was on YouTube.
Predator.
I think, yeah. Let's see if I can find it.
Oh God.
Let's see if it's the one. We're lagging on my side, so I want to see.
Is that it?
Let's see.
Oh hey, my video popped up.
Yeah, that one.
Yeah, I think I might know this channel. Actually, no.
You know what's really interesting? That the guy below it, the Dinofax dude, the top where it has, he is like really impressed me, man. Like, he's like, I thought it was just kind of some kind of like TikTok deal there for a little bit. Like that's where he originally started, I thought. But like he does relatively
decent
He
stuff.
does his research, yeah.
Pardon.
And then, of course, you have Prehistoric Planet and stuff. I absolutely love that. Ever since, Walking with Dinosaurs and, like, when dinosaurs roamed America and all that stuff, I've always wanted a really good documentary that didn't have, like, grossly exaggerated dinosaurs like that documentary about, like, Spinosaurus. That was so stupid.
I'll be back. Just gonna go to the toilet real quickly.
Okay. I've got to entertain the masses.
You are on your own now to satisfying them.
No nudes. So, how you guys doing? Sorry for the absolutely long pause there. I was getting a drink of water. How's everyone's weekend been? Been absolutely insane here. Went to a wedding, got dressed up like a cowboy. Something I thought I'd never do. So I'm upset with you. You got me hooked on Monster Hunter, and I haven't been able to stop playing it. I've already beat World front to back, and I finished Rise about 2 weeks ago. Oh yeah. If you guys are on my channel or from my side of things, like this video. Give Calvin some support. He's a good dude. What are my thoughts on Tracy Ford? I have none. I don't know who that is. I don't know people. When you say Tracy Ford, I am assuming that is a country artist because that's what that name sounds like. Yeah, like I was saying, give Calvin some love and support, man. He's incredibly smart, especially, him being 17 and throwing up some really good stuff here. The man knows his stuff.
Okay, I'm back. Alright, so next question. Things that annoy you about paleontology or the community surrounding it?
It kind of just goes back to people just making up a bunch of BS about things like what you just saw, the whole the ape that was able to kill dinosaurs or whatever, and I don't know.
Yeah, I'd say that. Well, for me, it's just when people don't do research, or if they do actually do research and they go on about it, they don't list sources.
That's a very good point too. And then when it comes to I'm behind the idea of if you're using someone's paleo art. I love paleo art, and I think people should any kind of use that stuff in their videos. Credit them. And then one that I kind of think about is when to take, like, I guess this is more going back to the paleo media thing, but I guess this pertains to people who are in the dinosaurs and paleontology. Don't, just because there's some dinosaur movies out there and stuff, they critique things so much, like stuff that shouldn't be critiqued as heavily, I guess. Like, we know Jurassic Park isn't going to be accurate, but people still to this day are like,
yeah, how many articles do you get each year of things Jurassic Park got wrong?
Yeah, or like, you see these videos of like, what did Jurassic Park do right with a real paleontologist, this, that, and the other. You've got to kind of like accept the fact that's like, this is for entertainment. This ain't for us, nerdy science junkies and stuff. So it's just is what it is, kind of thing.
Personally, I'd like to get back to finishing up that one video I did. Well, continuing on that one video I did of what did the Jurassic Park novel get right? Considering
that's such a good book, man.
Yeah. I will admit I did find it to be boring at times, but overall I didn't mind it.
Have you gone through the second one, The Lost World?
Yeah, I found that one a lot more entertaining.
See, that was the opposite for me. But no, I like both of them regardless. They were both really good.
Yeah, I have a bit of a paleo media collection.
Really?
Yeah, just to list off what I can see, besides all the reference books I have, like Princeton Field Guide to Dinosaurs, I see right off to my side Dragon Teeth and the Two Jurassic Parks by Michael Crichton, Carnosaur by Harry Adam Knight, real name John Brosnan, books 1 through 6 of the Megalodon series by Steve Alton, what's it called? The Lost World by Sir Arthur Conan Doyle, 4 of the Dinotopia books, and then just a bunch of random shit.
Man, to tell you what, the Dinotopia idea, like, I think there was a video game that was proposed that was going to do something similar to that. But like, kind of had like that Dinotopia aesthetic to it. It looked really cool, and like the dinosaur designs and stuff were really badass. But I don't know. That was a really good. That was one of those things, like, when you were talking, you asked the question about what got me into dinosaurs. Like, that right there was like one of the coolest things.
I remember, I think it was my mom said to me, right, you got the Dinotopia books from the library, and there were more of them there. At the time, I was like very young, I think I was like 4 or 5. And it was the case of, like, if I enjoyed those Dinotopia books, you'd go back and get the rest, but that really never ever happened. So I just have 4 of them. And really, now, looking back, I sort of regret not getting the others. Because, well, for me, I'm just a completionist. I like to have everything complete. Like, I have a series of children's encyclopedias on mammals, or just animals in the world in general. And for some reason, book 15 isn't there. I have no clue where it is, but I find that just so annoying.
Oh, I imagine. I was like that with the Princeton stuff. When I first found out there was a second one, I was like, well, I gotta get that one. Then when I was asking about the 3rd edition, I was like, I'm gonna blow all my damn money on these damn books. And then, like, so I collect the dinosaur figures too, and I've got like the Giganotosaurus from PNSO, and I've got several others from PNSO. But they had, like, for the longest time, a Carcharodontosaur line, and I'm missing a whole bunch. And like, then they started bringing out the Tyrannosaurs, and like, oh my lord, I'm never gonna catch up, kind of thing. But when it comes to books, I get. You're gonna have to buy a bigger shelf. I know I'm gonna have to, or like something to reinforce mine, because if my fan blows too hard, mine will fall over.
I've already cleared off some space, and there's plans to, like, expand out or just renovate one area to basically become a library. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, well, just like having all these reference books, because you just never know when you might need them. Not just that, but it helps with videos, and it's a lot better than just reading off random websites. And
I
these-
imagine like whenever you get your own place when you move,
Yeah.
you're gonna have like your bedroom is gonna be a closet with a little mini fridge in it, and the rest of the house is going to be
a library.
a library. And then like in the middle of it, it's gonna have like, I don't know, a mosasaur skull and like stuff hanging from the rafter, like a pteranodon cast or something hanging from the.
That reminds me of the other day when I did that response video to Tyrannotherium's American Lion video thing, and I came across what I believe was the skull he has in his video from bone clones, and I remember just being set back thinking like, oh, that'd be so awesome to like have, but then I just remembered I have a Tyrannosaur skull cast thing, some sort of replica, up on one of my shelves, so then I'm just sat back like, nah, don't need that thing. I'll stick with my Tyrannosaurid.
If you've, there is a video on his Instagram. It was Fossil Crate, and there was dinosaur cast and stuff. And there's like new species of ceratopsid, and like how they have it like displayed as it's getting yeeted across the room by a Daspletosaurus. I just find that was hilarious. Like, new species of dinosaur, let's kill it. Kind of like, when we're going back to,
Thylacine. Yeah. I can't remember what I was going to look up. Oh yeah, now I remember. On that thing of books, let's just go to YouTube real quickly. Where is it? Came across this the other day. Carl Schuker, I think it is. Yeah, just...
On Fiverr.
Well, I remember you saying it's sort of delayed on your end, so it might take a bit to load. But just look at the bookshelf behind Shuka.
Oh wow.
Yeah, that is
Holy crap.
that is a bookshelf. And then he has all the models behind him.
I want that Bigfoot trophy looking thing he's got.
Cryptozoologist of the Year 2016. I actually recognize a couple of the books. Next to the trophy, Encyclopedia of Dinosaurs.
Dinosaurs, yeah.
And then the Dinosauria, first edition by the looks of it, I'm guessing. I actually have Encyclopedia of Dinosaurs. Basically, think of it as Nature's book, but a bit more technical and like 20 times the size.
Oh wow. So there was an Encyclopedia of Dinosaur book I rented once from a library. And I know what the cover looks like. I think the cover's got a green Tyrannosaur on it, and like there's some big hadrosaurs in the pad, and some kind of large sauropods on it too, and they're all like running in the same direction together. I think that's the one I'm thinking of.
Hang on. Philip Curry, here we go.
I also had like when I was like in between like 4th and like 6th grade, we had these like they were
Here it is. Just take a bit to load. I think it's a big
they were
book.
like we had these things called book fairs or whatever, and you go and you buy certain books. They had dinosaur books. Yeah, that's not what I'm talking about. That Encyclopedia of Dinosaurs was great.
Big book. 869 pages. I wonder how many.
That one right there. The most complete Dinosaurs, the most complete up to date. That's the one I was talking about.
Oh yeah, by Thomas Holtz.
Yeah. But yeah, there was this. They had this. They had a little dinosaur section, whatever, and they had like it was a dinosaur minipedia, and I went insane over that book. Like they had like I've never seen anything like that. I carried it with me everywhere, and like when I would get home after like school, when I first bought it after school, I got home and then I grabbed my dad's tape measure and I was going through and measuring like the lengths they had for certain dinosaurs, And I was showing my dad this stuff, and him and I were out in the front yard. We spent probably about a good hour and a half, like looking at certain sizes of dinosaurs. Like that dinosaur doesn't look like it got that big. I don't know. A core memory there. Pretty cool.
Reminds me of like here and there when I go and have sleepovers at some friends' places, and I just pack a bunch of books to take with me to read. And I'm basically just playing a game of, what is it, Tetris with books, trying to fit as many in one box. I think my record is 14.
I could see you reading your buddies asleep. I was like, all right, kids, everyone lay down. I'm going to read you a book to go to sleep. So this one is Sora Poseidon. Now, everyone, you got your cookies and your milk. You're all tucked in.
We're reading about mosasaurs tonight, whether you fucking like it or not.
Jimmy, get back in bed. Quit hitting your brother. These are all grown-ass men, by the way.
Welcome to where I live.
They do things a little different over there.
It's interesting. But anyway, right, so where are we on the questions thing? Oh yeah, any other interests besides paleontology?
Just, this is kind of where it's been stuck at for a while, and occasionally I take breaks and play video games that are dinosaur related. Reptile, amphibian stuff, and I train jiu-jitsu and kickboxing stuff. Been doing that for about 7 years now, and I've dipped my toes into like training MMA stuff for the last 3 years. There's a couple gyms around here though, and then what's really cool is like when I try to not do paleo stuff, there's a gym probably 15 miles south of the town I live in called Raptor Jiu-Jitsu, and their logo is a dromaeosaur of some sort, and it's pretty cool. But no, outside of that, that's about it, man. I like to travel.
I think you said you like going, looking for reptiles and stuff.
Oh yeah, herping, yeah. I've been doing that ever since I was a kid too. That kind of came with the whole dinosaur deal. And growing up, my dad had all kinds of snakes and lizards and stuff, and my sister and I, we would disappear off in the swamp for hours when we were kids, and come back with a pillowcase. We'd bring a pillowcase with us, and we'd fill it up with like your water snakes and rat snakes and stuff, and show them to our grandma. And my grandma was like, "Let them damn snakes go." She'd try really hard not to freak out, like play it cool, but you could tell like she was like, these damn kids are scaring the hell out of me. And then yeah, and that's where I've had like, back on the big cat topic, I had I think it was just 2 or 3 years ago, like in West Texas, we were looking for a gray banded king snakes, which is like the way you have to find them is like at night at like 2 or 3 in the morning, and you go through and you're shining like these rock cuts pretty much. There's like, so you have these mountains, and then there's like roads that have like, they use dynamite to create pathways to make roads. Instead of going over them, they go through them. Mm-hmm. Well, the embankments go about anywhere from 15 to almost like 30 feet. And you get out, you take your flashlight, and you're shining these crevices and stuff and these rocks. I'm looking for these snakes, and they're usually found up in the mountains, like I said earlier. But one time we were out there, and my buddy had dropped me off at this cut, and he was going to drive up probably about a quarter of a mile and shine that cut. So I was on this rock cut by myself, and right behind me was a canyon. And that right there, it was real eerie because I was by myself up in the mountains, and it was super dark. But there was a mountain lion scream that like echoed throughout that whole entire canyon, and I should have brought an extra pair of pants. That's like the only that was my only big like mountain lion experience, I guess. I thought I've seen one like out here where I live, But no. Sorry, I went back on the big cat thing, but it kind of had to do with looking for snakes.
I remember once, like, being up on this mound, right? And there was this road by it. I remember the road then split off into two different directions and all. And I remember at that part in the road, I remember seeing this one animal, and I was like, what is that? And I couldn't realise, well, I didn't know what it was, and because I was reading one of the Australian big cat books I have at the time, you could probably guess where my mind went. I was sat there thinking, I've just had my own big cat sighting here in Australia. They're here. They're real. It was a dog.
That's kind of like the Black Panther story I was gonna tell you. It was like almost identical to that. 1 second.
Well, I was gonna say, alright, we got mystery cat questions after these couples, so,
Oh, yeah, we'll get into it later.
yeah. Well, actually, we have one more question before the stuff on the mystery cats. Any video requests for me to make?
On a serious note, yes. I don't. Maybe you could do something. This would probably be a pretty lengthy video, but I thought it was real. I think it's real interesting how like you have like certain super predators that are like megatheropods that kind of like grew up next to each other, but they fulfilled different niches.
Mm-hmm.
So like the Carcharodontosaurs and the Spinosaurids, because anywhere you look, it seems like they've evolved with each other and like found in the same locations and everything. So like in South America, you have Oxalia, you have Irritator, and you have in like Africa, you've got Spinosaurus, Sigilmassosaurus, and you get both species of Carcharodontosaur.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, I think that stuff's really interesting when you have two predators that big and that successful, growing up with each other and not necessarily. I mean, there may have been a little bit of conflict between them, but for the most part, it wasn't enough conflict for one of those
to make the other extinct.
Yeah, and then like what went along with them is the Belosaurs too. And Belosaurs grew up like in their shadows for the most part.
Hmm.
I don't know. It's that could probably be a multi-part video, I guess.
Reminds me of one thing I was set back thinking. Well, just quickly making that response thing to Tyrannotherium's video on American lion size, where why would an American lion need to be like 350 kilos, which is like nearly 800 pounds? Because think about it, right? It lived with Smilodon, numerous different large bear species, including the modern ones, on top of all the extinct ones like the short-faced bear. Then you had dire wolves, mountain lions, actual wolves, right? Like, after a while, it starts to pile up, and when you have so many of these other predators, like the short-faced bear and Smilodon, already filling the role of large predatory animals, I don't think American lions would be the sort of size where they could actually compete with them. I mean, I don't think it's in the cat book I recommended to you. I think it was in the other one I have, Wild Cats of the Wild. They state of how jaguars, they're much larger than pumas. So pumas have actually shrunk drastically in South America, because they're feeding on much different stuff to what jaguars are in order to avoid competition. And I wouldn't be surprised if the same thing happened with Smilodon and the American lion, where the American lion is feeding on much smaller stuff, so it's not as big as most people think it was.
That makes me think of like how successful was like Smilodon? Do we have proof of them even doing any kind of like, I guess, pack behavior?
Wait, I will admit I'm somewhat skeptical on the pride thing, but also not. I can sort of see why people would say they might have lived in prides. I mean, or just look at the conditions that led to the African lions, the actual lions, developing a pride system. They live in a very prey-dense area, and at least up until like 1.5 million years ago, they actually had a lot more carnivores around, so there's a lot more pressure. And the thing is when you're a lioness and you say, I don't know, kill a 600 kilo Cape buffalo, that's not a carcass you can drag off into hiding. So when you have stuff like Homotherium and large hyenas roaming around as well, they've basically just banded together in order to protect kills, and then as a benefit from that, they can also better protect cubs. So perhaps since there was just as many large predators with the American lion, then maybe they banded together like lionesses do in prides and male lions do in coalitions.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, exactly how prey dense was ancient North America at this time?
It's definitely something super interesting to me because it's you like the amount of predators is insane. Like so you've named several big cats. You've named bears.
Yeah.
That's in Africa. If you look at Africa, you don't have anything that rivals lions when it comes to predator wise. You have, hyenas are more of a nuisance than anything. Don't get nearly as big. Leopards are.
They exist.
They're there, and cheetahs get bullied off of anything. And
as far as I know, really, the only thing that got to an actual the size of the lion that the lion coexisted with was, I think, Homotherium.
I thought Homotherium was more size of your average lion. I'm not coming at this as like I'm not questioning your. That's stuff I didn't know. I'm not questioning your.
Well,
statements.
I don't really know much about saber-toothed cats, but just going off what I know off the top of my head, Homotherium was at least comparable to a lion.
Yeah, that's what I heard. Yeah, it was. I think when we were talking about Dinofelis got like leopard size.
Yeah. As far as I know, Dinofelis was leopard size.
All right.
Alright, so
yeah.
Yeah? Continue?
Yeah, go ahead. No, I was just kind of closing it.
Okay, now we're on to the stuff in terms of specific questions about the mystery cats. I remember you mentioning something about a legend here where you live having to do with big cats being released into the wilderness of the US by an old man who committed suicide. Would you like to elaborate further for both my own personal interests and that of the viewers, if possible?
Yeah. So, for the most part here, they'll give probably back in the 90s and 80s. Anyone could own big cats if you had the money and like the fish and game necessarily didn't really care as long as you had it like within a cage and had like safety protocols kind of on it. And this guy had like a small little, I guess you would call it a refuge or just maybe his collection, but he got a hold of a handful of big cats. And I think he had a bear too. I'm not sure all he had, but I know he had lions, leopards, cougars, and a black panther. A couple black panthers. And we are at the time we had just moved to Oklahoma from Arizona, and my dad was going around checking oil well sites, what he would do for a living, and that takes you out to like some desolate areas, like super out in the middle of nowhere, and you're checking these well sites, and you're driving down dirt roads for a while. But anyways, on his way back from home, he was driving down the dirt road we had lived on at the house, the house we bought when we moved here. And there was these embankments alongside the road that were going up instead of down. And he thought when he was driving by, or he was in front of him while he was driving, there was a black lab that was just casually trotting just in the road, just on the side in the embankment. And he's like, oh, so there's a dog in the road. And he followed it for a little bit. Of course, he didn't get too terribly close to it before it decided to jump up one of these embankments, and the embankments were like 10 feet tall. I don't think labs could do that, black Labradors. And that was kind of his experience with it. And then there were several other people who had said they've seen these weird big cats in their area, or heard like weird stuff, camping out at night in the area. But yeah, the guy ended up killing himself, and before he killed himself, he had let all of his animals go.
Well, at least you didn't just let him starve.
You're right. At least they didn't do that. But you'd figure, kind of back to what you were saying, to the whole, if you cared about the animals, you could have really hit up a zoo or hit up a sanctuary or whatever.
Oh, hey, especially in America. I mean, rednecks.
Oh, yeah, that's...
I mean, I remember being sat back thinking this, right? One book I have, I believe I mentioned it on the thing I did with Gecko. I think the book's called On the Prowl: In Search of Big Cat Origins, but it also talks a lot about like conservation and stuff like that, and the future of big cats. And I remember I haven't read the book yet, but went skimming through it, and I came across this illustration where it had like some sort of lookout thing, and there were lions, and the caption was something like lions in America, and it was about how we could import lions from Africa to America to take over the role of American lions. And I was just sat back thinking, like, are these people insane?
Yeah,
right? I mean, ignore the fact...
We're too fat and lazy to go to Africa and trophy hunt. Please bring the lions to us, please, so I can shoot them from my front porch while I drink my beer.
Well, I was about to say that. I was just sat back thinking at first, well, just ignore the fact that this is an invasive species, right? But how many rednecks would just be sat there like, hey, there's a lion out there, get the gun!
Yep.
You
Wife
could
would be like, where you going, honey? I'm about to take this boy out and teach him how to shoot a lion. It's going to be your first cat, boy.
We ain't gonna be worrying about any mountain lions. We got actual lions.
Mm-hmm. And on this trip, you're going to have your first beer.
Come on, Scooter,
Dad,
let's go shoot one.
Dad, I'm 7. It's alright, son.
I know, but we've just given you a Barrett 50 cal.
And that's when your child learns flying lessons, too. Just a world of experiences out here. Ooh, Jack Horner.
I love this. I love how on the Prehistoric Podcast you all are talking about modern felines. Well, I guess might as well just rename this to the Anything We Want to Talk About podcast.
Slightly animal related.
Roughly about animals related. Alright, would you say the story is nothing more than a tall tale, or do you believe there's truth to it?
That actually sounds like something someone from Oklahoma or Texas would probably do. They could, I believe it. Like, I believe that someone would do that. Did I believe that? I don't know. I'm kind of skeptical. But then again, I see truth behind it.
Oh,
it's I don't know. People are stupid, or people are stupid, And I'm just gonna let all these big cats out. You don't want to. It's like when people releasing like alligators in like states where they're nowhere near. Like, I can't take care of these animals anymore. You know what? I'm gonna let it go. Turns out it survives for a while.
Yeah.
And turns out it's gonna terrorize someone's pasture or something. eat someone's dog or.
Mm.
The U.S. I'm pretty sure it's people all over the world, but in the 80s and 90s, people were incredibly stupid when the laws weren't as nearly as strict when it came to owning certain things. So when those people realized that certain things they ended up buying became life-threatening to them, they would let it go and let it become life-threatening to everyone else, kind of deal. So
it reminds me of one thing about I think it's my dad has said to me here and there of like, if you treat any animal right, you'd probably be able to have it as a pet. But for me, it's like, at the same time, it's, well, I just think of one thing I remember hearing from the YouTuber Clint's Reptiles. You can ride a tiger. You can pet a great white shark. You can have a king cobra as a pet. But that doesn't mean it's gonna work.
Yeah, you can do all these things for a period of time.
I mean, well, for me, it's just one of those things where would you really want to have a king cobra as a pet if it's, well, just for the fact that it's cool? Or would you rather have something else that is not gonna kill you?
So you're talking to the wrong person about this, especially with someone who owns snakes.
I mean, if you do treat them right, yeah, sure. But how many people are gonna treat them right?
Right. So
like this,
that's kind of like I agree with what you said. That's kind of like the stuff I have is they're rear fang venomous, and they're nothing like, it's not necessarily lethal, but you know, I've had venomous snakes, and I've been bit twice, but it wasn't from my own snakes. It was from stuff out in the field. But I was getting careless with the snakes I was catching, so that's when I realized it's like, all right, I'm getting kind of dumb, and I'm just going to get rid of my venomous snakes. My sister has hers. She owns like a couple different Massasauga rattlesnakes, and I think they got some pygmy rattlesnakes. But yeah, it's one of those things. Just it's only a matter of time before, yes, you may be keeping them right, but accidents happen, and unfortunately, some people have that stuff happen with like owning black mambas or owning boom slings or gaboon vipers or some shit, and it's like that snake eventually you plan to own this snake for 15, 20 years if you take care of it right, but one day you're gonna slip up.
Yeah,
it's like owning a big cat. It's like, oh, you may think he's friendly, you may think he's nice, and you think you've got a bond with this damn thing, but in reality, if he wanted to, one day he's gonna try you.
Oh, I remember that dude in Florida where he had, what, a pet cassowary?
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, dude in Florida got killed by his pet cassowary. If I remember correctly, it's believed like he might have tripped over or something and it startled the bird, so admittedly, I guess you can just call that one an accident, but it's still like, I don't feel like it's a good idea to own a cassowary, full stop. I mean, like, it's a cool bird, it looks pretty, all that, but you've basically owned the living equivalent of a velociraptor.
I agree with that. So cassowaries are like, I don't know, they're insane to look at, and I think they're really pretty, and I would love to touch one, but everyone wants to touch something they're not supposed to, especially when it comes to animals.
Pretty.
But, like, when it comes to, like, you should know when you get the damn thing that cassowary is like, you could see their feet and see that big ass claw in there and be like, this thing has the potential of splitting me wide open, and like, oh, there's my guts. That's cool.
It reminds me of a clip I remember seeing from, I think it was Regular Show, right?
Oh,
where they see this cassowary and the park, and they go, oh look, it's a cassowary, and you see it stand there. It raises up one claw and swipes this tree in half, and then they just step back like, holy fuck, how are we gonna get rid of this thing?
That's how deforestation actually happens in Australia.
Oh, I love this. Just what someone put in. I want to touch a cassowary. Brutalis 2023.
I do, man. Like, oh, so I have made it a life goal, not necessarily a cassowary, but still, but like a life goal. Once I get some land after I've had my fill of this house, I want some emus, and they're pretty cheap over here. They're like $150 for an emu.
Holy cow!
Yeah.
So, actually no. So I don't get hidden. I would love to see.
They're vegetarian, I believe.
I'd
yes,
love
they're
to
vegetarian.
see Calvin,
that doesn't
Brutal,
mean they can't wreck your shit.
So I don't get hidden. I'd love to see Calvin, Brutal, and Gecko talk about dinosaur deeding.
What?
I
Dating?
think he means sex.
Oh. No. But so I will send you a paper, or it was I don't know if you know about this. I don't know if Gecko knows about this, but there was a paper that had come out, and this guy was dead serious about dinosaurs were too fat and sluggish to have sex on land, so they bred in pools, and he called them sex pools. And
oh yeah, I've seen that thing with the sex likes. I love it.
it's just
Let me splash. Hang on.
Splash.
Hang on. I know a clip to show you. I think I mentioned this on the episode I did with Gecko. It was a talk I came across from Darren Naish about this stuff. Here, tetrapod zoology.
That's where I heard it. Yeah.
Yeah. I love his comment. Let's see if I can find it. I love it. He just goes, well, let's see. Let's check. I think it was somewhere around here. Play. Once it loads.
All of them include at least one illustration of dinosaurs engaged in mating behaviour. And following Housted's lead, a great many other scientists, authors, artists, illustrators, they have also depicted non-bird dinosaurs engaged in sexual...
Here, I think. But yeah, he's right.
expression.
He's right what he states in this lecture of how people say of how like paleontologists don't spend much time thinking about it, but clearly there's way too much of this stuff out of anything.
Whenever we talk about dinosaur sex,
Yeah.
one of them is that some dinosaurs were really big. I mean, as goes overall size. So shouldn't there be some problem as goes bipedal rearing and mass distribution if we assume, as I think we should, that males placed at least some of their weight on females during mating? Well, some people, including those who think they're very clever, have said, well, surely the obvious answer to this weight distribution problem is...
As soon as I would walk
mating
through
water
the
would
room
solve
in that
all the-
museum and saw those two T-Rexes getting after it like that, I would have just probably left and laughed the whole
It
time.
would have solved all their problems. These people have never tried
That's
having sex in the
hilarious.
sea, and
I love that comment there. These people have never tried having sex in the sea. He is a man of experience.
Oh boy. Some of them have what? They're like, those are like circus brachiosaurs right there.
Where is this
You know,
world
they get
going?
like animals to stand on top of each other in the circus, like lions and. Yeah.
Yeah, how common are stories of mystery cats in the United States, just from what you've heard around?
Oh, they're not necessarily mystery cats, but they're just. Everyone's got a mountain lion story or bobcat. Bobcat stories are believable, you know, because they're everywhere. There's actually a place, 5 miles north of here called Wildcat Curves, and people have said they've seen like mountain lions and bobcats and stuff all over the place. But bobcats are, like I said, they're common as hell. Mountain lions few and far between around here. You have to go in more isolated areas, like your, wildlife protective areas. But no, they're common. They're more the comments from like if you're up in the northern states, it's like, oh, I've seen a mountain lion. Yeah, I believe you. When you come farther down south, you get a little more skeptical, but that's about it.
Hmm.
Yeah, geckos in Idaho. I have cousins up there near what is it? Pocatello. And that was the first time I ever saw a dead mountain lion. Someone had hit it with a car.
Personally, I'd like to see some of these animals in their natural habitat. I reckon it'd be awesome. Like mountain lions, bobcats, snow leopards, especially. Jags as well, I guess.
I thought Gecko was from Idaho, wasn't he?
I don't know.
I thought that was in the podcast. Maybe I'm full of it. Probably full of it.
Just
Potato Man.
Yeah, bobcats are everywhere. Actually, that makes me wonder, what does the bobcat range look like? Bobcat range.
You know,
Oh
I looked
yeah,
at mountain
they're
lion
everywhere.
ranges. Yeah, they're
Just
you can find them
blankets
in your
the
backyard.
Good lord. Holy bobcat population.
Oh, gotcha.
Between 700,000 and 1.5 million in the US in 1989. Population total 2016 2.3 to 3.6 million individuals.
I'm curious on why they skipped the southern Great Lake area. That's interesting.
Some animals can differ a bit here and there in terms of their environment, just due to their territories can range for all sorts of reasons. Maybe there's a lack of food there for them, climate's not right, something. I don't know.
Well, in that particular area, I guess maybe I don't know. It feels like they'd be all over the place over there. Saber and I don't know if she's still in the chat. Her and I went up in that kind of general area, and it's super. Yeah, you could easily see a bobcat in that area.
I remember thinking of doing a video on the lynx lineage, and I think the bobcat's a part of it.
Yeah, speaking of animals being related to each other and not knowing about it, and in this wildcat book that you've got me to get, there is the caracal or caracal, and I didn't know that was it the golden Asian cat. I did not know it was in the same. It was the same genus. Just different
I'm checking the
species.
lineage as well. Where is it? Caracal. Caracal lineage. Same thing as African golden cat and serval.
Yeah. Well, I knew they were related, but wasn't the serval just a different genus? Is what I was getting at. I didn't know that the African golden cat was within the same.
Oh, hang on. Just check the thing. Just because they're part of the same lineage doesn't mean exactly the same genus.
Right.
Where is Caracal? Caracal.
Is page 87.
Okay, page 87. Okay, I went too far.
93.
Okay, its thing is caracal. So just so that way you know it's a caracal.
Mm-hmm.
And now we go serval.
Taxonomy is a mess with anything.
Yep. Oh, I have seen some cat lineages where they change around a bit. Serval 81. And what the serval? Leptalurus serval. So they're fairly closely related in terms of the fact that they're part of the same lineage. They're just not same genus.
Yeah.
Oh, now I've got like 4
There-
messages from Gecko. What sort of cursed stuff has he sent me?
Oh Lord.
I do not want to click.
It's gonna be Matt Walsh. I guarantee you. I told you.
You know what, let's check. I'll just copy paste the image over to you, or you've probably seen it on the stream now. This weird AI generated cheetah snail thing.
Oh yeah, we have those all over the place.
Welcome to America. A TTF moment to be sure. Yes. Look at it. Gecko, since you're here, how's TTF? Any good news? Never mind, go back, go back, go back. And Gecko's just replied saying, I've got worse. Trust me. I don't want to know. Don't you dare send me anything. It reminds me of one part where I was talking to Gecko the other day, I think it was, and we just basically just started sending each other all sorts of pics of hybrid animals we could find. And I came across this one website called The Messy Beast, and they have an entire section there on hybrid animals. And when I read out the part saying something like, I think it was hybrid animals, humans, primates, I just heard him start screaming, just going, no, 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 don't you dare send me anything, I'll block you. And I scrolled.
What was the name of the website again?
The Messy Beast, I think.
Yes, so anyone who types that in, use caution and make sure you're over 18.
But yeah, I love that. Just straight away he starts screaming, no, 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 don't you dare, I'll block you. As I'm scrolling down to the section on the primates and it has human and other hybrids.
No thanks, I'll pass.
Luckily for Gecko, it had no images I could send him.
Yeah, see, you ruined it. I want to leave now. The pictures I just saw, I'm good.
Humanity nightmares. Well, I love that. Just straight away. No, no, no. I'll block you. And then I remember we were saying we should make an iceberg video on like human-animal hybrids, and I remember just going to him. We should just have humanity down at the bottom with the caption, "Just Google it yourself."
Yep.
We're not going to talk about it. Just, we see no evil, we do no evil, we speak no evil.
I imagine there's got to be some. Yeah, we'll just leave it at that. You ever watched like that whole it was a stupid Animal Planet documentary that came out? I don't know, probably 15 years ago, and it was like trying to portray, had almost everybody convinced that mermaids were a real thing, and then like the pictures and stuff that you would see were like these like macaques or capuchin monkeys that were like sewed to a fish or something.
I love that. Just
yeah, there's a lot of just goofy. Just if you just go to Google and type in your cryptid animals, and like one of the theories behind the Jersey Devil was, or not theory, it wasn't necessarily a theory. It was like something that was debunked. There was a carnival or a festival that had come through that town of Jersey, in New Jersey, and it was a kangaroo that someone had spray painted and like made little prop wings and put it on it. Oh, what the hell is that cat? That Korean depiction of a tiger?
I've just come across this page again on Messy Beasts, and they have a section there on blue tigers.
Huh. 1 second, I'm gonna run to the restroom.
Cool. Yeah. I wonder, what is it saying? PTSD. I already remember that now. Gecko destroy minds. I want Calvin to Google Humanzees and set it as the thumbnail. Calvin slowly clicks off of it. Thank you, brave soldier. You know what, I'm going to click back on there and see what sort of disturbing stuff I can find in order to torment you people while he's off urinating or whatever. Come on, let's see what we can find. Adult female puma ocelot hybrid. That actually looks like a normal cat. And the chat's just stopped. Oh god, no. Lol. I am no. There are blue dogs at Chernobyl. Interesting. Closing tab quickly. Small wildcat hybrids. What does this have here? Nothing. Just walls upon walls upon walls of text. Closing tab quickly. A 6-month-old Litagon African Lion X Tigon at Haikou, China in 2016. Yeah, from what I know, most of this sort of stuff is just, most of these hybrids, they don't come from actually proper zoos. They come from just, shitholes is the best place I can describe them. Not places where they're actually, respectable for their animals. I mean, look at some of these places.
Roadside zoos.
Yeah. I mean, you look at some of these places and they'll have, like, what? A jaguar, tiger, and lion, or several lions, all in one enclosure that might be, like, not even the size of my room.
Yeah, those are the ones that give zoos and stuff a bad name. You've got good ones that do a lot for conservation and, you know, actually give a shit about the animals they're taking care of. And then you have the basically stationary carnivals.
Oh, Gecko has just sent me something. I wonder what sort of rubbish this will be. Spinosaurus.
Spinosaurus has the ability to fly like a kite with itself. $50 bet. I believe it. You missed the Spinosaurus talk, Noxie. I like this. What is it? The Spinosaurus or Spinoferus, which was basically a really angry elephant seal. Angrier elephant seal.
Good lord, that's one hell of a... What is this thing? A liger? Good lord. You know it's big when you can ride on it.
Yeah, I knew about the ligers, the tigers, and the leopard, or what are you, the leopard tiger or leopard lion mixes.
Yeah.
Oh, the tigan. Yeah.
Really, I'd say most of this sort of stuff just comes from roadside zoos, and if not, it will just be like back in the days before people thought of animal cruelty.
Yeah, that's the one I was telling you about that I worked with. I never could find any pictures of it. I found a picture of my sister feeding a tiger, and that was it. But any of the pictures that my aunt had, I guess she didn't take any good ones of me, I guess. But no, I worked. So it was a roadside zoo. I was 16 years old, and I got to run like the reptile house they had. I had a bunch of my personal collection up there. And then like I wouldn't get like in the cages with any of the cats, whatever. But like how when feeding time came around, we would kind of like, they had their own little, I wouldn't call it a kennel, I guess. I guess it was their own little section where each cat had to go to eat, so they wouldn't, fight with the other cats. And oh man, it's something else to be so close, because you're on the other side of like a chain link fence, and some of that stuff is just crazy. It's really, really cool stuff. Scary but cool.
scary, right? I mean, imagine living in a place like Africa where you live with leopards and lions.
That's why I'm not going to ever hurt Africa. Which is I have friends that go, but they said, you always got to kind of like keep your head on a swivel kind of deal.
Mm-hmm.
So that's
yeah, for me it's just, it'd be cool to see some of these animals, but it's also, well, you see videos online where they'll do other zoos where they'll do stuff like here's what happens when you turn your back to one of these cats, and you might think because it's a zoo, these animals, even though they're wild animals, they might be somewhat domesticated, right, trained. No, as soon as someone turns their back, straight away they're going into that sort of position for pouncing.
Oh yeah. Ooh.
That's one of the things that like that whole thing of having some of these animals as pets, right?
Mm.
That's one of the main reasons why I probably wouldn't want a tiger as a pet.
Well, you can see videos like that of like people, taking their little kid is up against the glass at a zoo or something. They're taking pictures of it, and the damn tiger behind it is running across the enclosure and jumps towards the glass. Oh man, that stuff. Ooh.
Yeah. Like, again, they're wild animals. They're.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, sure. Some of them might have personalities. Some of them might be a little bit more tame than others. But when I turn my back on one of these animals, I don't want to end up getting a massive pain in my arse.
Oh man.
Or,
Isn't that...
in the case of a jaguar, my skull cracked open.
I always, like I said, jags are just so damn cool. And then some of them, I don't know, to me, their patterns and stuff they're just much prettier to me than a leopard.
Mm.
Like, a leopard is just a jaguar you get from Wish. And if you don't know what Wish is, it's a really trashy website.
I know. I love one website I have here bookmarked where it has just this one image of a jaguar, which they've had for like 4 months up as cat species of the month. And they couldn't have picked a more disturbing image for a jaguar. This thing that just stares into your soul.
Holy crap. That's a... Wow.
It just stares. What? Why couldn't they have made this the image? Look at it. It's all smiling. It's fine. He's just chilling. He's just happy to sit back in his pool of water.
Get a little bit closer in that boat, buddy.
Yeah. I remember reading something, I think it was in Big Cats and Their Fossil Relatives. They have a section of individual species. I think that's chapter 3. And they did one on Panthera, and then they each one about the jaguar, tiger, all that. And I think they stated in there that out of all the living cats, the jaguar has the most robust skeleton. Like
I can see that.
Like they are really designed for muscle.
I wonder if that helps them, like, this is probably a stretch, but having that much dense bone helps them kind of like, I guess necessarily kind of, they don't, maybe okay, so like sink in the water when they're hunting food.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe that's a stretch to say that, but
if I remember correctly, I think the book told you to get, they have some stuff on there on jaguars and their muscles.
Mm-hmm.
Because jags are pretty much designed for hunting very large, very strong prey.
Well, it makes sense, especially if they're jumping on caimans. A lot of times they're hunting black caimans, which black caimans are the largest caiman species, and they get up to bigger than alligators, like almost 20 feet. And if you jump on a large male caiman who's used to being in the water, and you've got to go in there and tackle that thing with everything you can, really.
I love all the comments Gecko put in the thing. Calvin, you have the entire internet pinned. That one isn't surprising. You've sent me that image
yes.
like 1,000 times. Yeah, I think I have like nearly 700 different bookmarks of just all sorts of stuff I've sent. Or just all sorts of stuff I've saved for videos. Like, I think I have like 10 different websites on cats saved, on top of the dozen books I have.
And he's convinced me to get some of them.
Yes. A lot of them can be found on archive.org, though.
At least you're not telling people to go buy drugs. You're telling them to go buy books.
Well, I remember watching something where they said that the best thing you can do is just read books. You know, read through them, get smarter, build some skills.
Hey kids, you got any dinosaur encyclopedias? You got an extensive mosasaur book?
It reminds me of a meme I remember seeing of I think it was that like one thing from the Chappelle show or whatever of Dave Chappelle as a drug addict, but it was a piss take of that whole scandal with the White House cocaine. You got any more of them White House tours?
Oh man, that shit's a mess, dude.
I love that. I love how they're trying to pretend that we have no clue where the cocaine came from. Look at the junkie who is the son of the president. But no, it can't be him. How do you know?
We have legit pictures of him with a meth pipe in his mouth. And you don't think that guy, he's not doing drugs anymore. He's turned his life around and... Oh no, his coke dropped out of his pockets.
Well, did you see that video I showed Gecko on the live stream? Of him just zoned out and he's filming himself? Like, mate,
I did not.
He's off his mind there.
When I listened to it, I'm at work, so I like play my videos and then I'll go and do my work and leave the video in a different room or something. But I didn't see that.
But yeah, he's just zoned out of his mind. Hang on, I'll see if I can find it just to show you. Like, I just lost it laughing when I saw this.
I caught a Cetacosaurus. What? Batman. I caught a PSI. What?
Come on. Here we go. It's a mystery. Timestamped it for you. Just so that way the viewers can see as well. Oh, it's blocked on Discord. View on YouTube. About 1 minute 30 seconds in. He's just spinning out of his mind.
Holy shit, dude.
He has no clue where he's at, is he?
He looked like he's been up for like a week straight.
You got any more than White House toys?
The people we give power to, man.
Indeed, just... I love it. Just, yes.
Damn. That's what Calvin looks like when he's looking for new books. That's what it like. That's you going through like Amazon or Archive. Oh, I need some more information on my cat iceberg.
Could you imagine being the first person to find that video of him? Just being sat there like, holy god, he's out of his mind there, isn't he?
Yeah, like, well, we messed up.
It's like, hang on, people were saying not to vote for Trump, and we give power to this dude's father?
Before he did anything, he probably video timed his dad. He was like, "Dad, do I look high?"
Dad, I can see sound. I can hear colors.
I can taste the shapes.
What is this weird thing in front of me? Books, I need more books. That's what Gecko commented.
How did Brutal get that so well? Because I do it occasionally. I mean, I'm in control though.
Yeah, I love that. Just
I'm a healthy addict. Moderation.
yes, let's give more money to Ukraine. You'd probably find Biden's getting a little kickback from the donations to Ukraine, and just give some of that to his son so that he can keep up the addiction.
Yeah, and not sending it to Hawaii.
Yeah.
Did you see the Oprah and The Rock?
Something about that I think I saw. But I love it. What they say? $500 per family?
$700. That's a joke. That's a slap in the face, dude.
Not even per person.
And what's really sad is like Oprah and The Rock they set up a fundraiser for people who are living paycheck to paycheck, which like 60% of the people in the United States are living paycheck to paycheck. They're asking us to, hey, donate some of your hard-earned cash to this foundation that is secretly ran by the people who run part of the Biden administration. And then this is coming from a billionaire and the highest paid actor in the world, which is The Rock. Mm-hmm. If you took $1 billion and just tossed it towards Hawaii, you could do an absolute insane amount.
You probably have the whole thing. It would look like nothing ever happened.
Yep. And Oprah herself has legit 1,000 acres in Hawaii. And she had like, no one was allowed to go on it while this fire was going or anything. There's like, they couldn't take refuge. It was like one of the only places that didn't catch on fire was her property. It's crazy, man. Anyways, dinosaurs.
Yes. Yeah. Well, hey, Christmas is coming up in a few months, so I'm going to see what sort of books I can find. I mean, I just have, like, so much saved. And, of course, price checking, so even more books. I remember one book, I think it is, The Horned Dinosaurs by Pierre Dodson from 1996. Alright? It was out of print for a while, but they put it back into print in, I think, the same time Naish put out Dinopedia, which I find a bit funny because if I remember correctly, recommended The Horned Dinosaurs in that book, and on top of that, it's from the same publisher. So I have sneaking suspicion about why he recommended that one in particular, but anyway. Right, so it was out of print for a while and they put it back in. It's like $400 something for a hardcover.
Holy shit.
Yeah.
Wow.
Luckily, I found a paperback of the original on eBay for not even like $26. So
perfect.
So you can imagine I got that straight away.
So when you were going through one of the Darren Naish videos, at the very beginning of it, there was a book I had seen. I didn't catch the name of it. It had the Heterodontosaurus with the full of the fuzz, hair, proto-feathers or whatever. Mm-hmm. I didn't. Did you happen to catch that?
Hang on, let's see what it was.
It was Darren Naish. I don't know who did the artwork for it. I don't know if it wasn't Mark Whitten. It was someone else.
Oh yeah. I actually have that book. Dinosaurs: How They Lived and Evolved by Darren Naish and Paul Barrett. I finished reading it the other day. I find it to be a decent book. I'd say it's definitely something to pick up, but I've found it to be extremely boring to read.
Yeah, that one right there.
Mm.
I don't know. I like that artwork. I'm a big sucker for paleo art. That's kind of like why I got the Mesozoic art, and like you were talking about, you went and got Saurian, and I like going through there and looking at like kind of like how their designs are for like the Pachycephalosaurus tail. It's almost like segmented. It's like similar to a lot of the gamma lizards in Africa.
Gecko just sent me this saying this is what Hunter looks like.
I'll do you one better. Hold on, give me a second. Maybe better, I don't know.
Oh, this is some cute Jaguar pics. Yeah, tank for Jaguar. Tank boy.
Yeah, he's the one who lives with the lion. And like he like that's a big boy. If he jumped on you, it would be
yeah. From what I know,
probably over pretty quick.
You get some Jags that are like 100 kilos.
I don't know if they've weighed him recently. I'd like to see what he weighs.
I was actually thinking of making a Jaguar video, and I got the idea of like thinking of emailing him to ask him some questions about Tank. I think I might actually do that for a Jaguar vid. Also, the other thing Gecko sent: will you sink or swim 5 nights in the Cambrian?
That's Anomalocaris? Yeah, that would.
I'd probably sink.
I'd die. Yeah, I'd sink.
Just, yep, gone. Bye. Bye forever.
Let's see.
I wonder, what does the Wildcat book say about Jaguar size? Okay, right. Ah, here we go. There is no such thing as an average-sized jaguar. The weight of this cat can vary by more than 100% depending on where it lives. The smallest jaguars are found in Peru, where males weigh about 80 pounds or 37 kilograms, and females are about 70 pounds or 31 kilograms. The largest jaguars are found in the floodplains of the Pantanal region of Brazil and Venezuelan llanos, where males weigh about 225 pounds, 102 kilos, and females 160 pounds, 72 kilos.
They weigh, like, you said, they weigh like almost like 80 pounds or something more than like an adult male leopard. It's crazy how much more they weigh than a leopard.
Mm.
I know they're just bigger, but yeah. There's Hunter Biden down at the bottom. Good old Targier for you.
It's Mort from Madagascar. He's seen King Julian's feet. That's what it is there. Give me your feet.
Let's see. I also have this really. I think this was relatively recent.
Oh, hang on. I think there's one around here somewhere on the same website I got that Jaguar image from. Of clouded leopard. Oh yeah, here we go. Oh wow, that's a cool looking leopard.
Well, yeah, it's that's awesome.
It looks drunk.
He's like, the fuck are you looking at, motherfucker? Mind your own damn business.
Where'd my beer go? Did that leopard steal it?
Where's my pipe? No, I thought that leopard, that black leopard, was real cool because, like, when you see them,
It's
that much melt.
Yeah, you don't really see that little melanin.
Especially on the face. And then if you go and I don't know how doctored this or photoshopped this picture is, or like if they messed with any kind of the edits or edit it in any way. This is a jag. But you can tell just by like the legs are shorter and like the head and
Much
how big the
beefier.
head is. Yeah.
Just much beefier. It reminds me of one thing I said to Dad about I think it was dogs, cats, and bears. Right, like you look at a dog and you go, I wouldn't want to mess with that. You look at the cat and you go, okay, I'll take the dog. Then you look at a bear and you go, okay, I'll take the cat.
You know the saying, if it's black, fight back. If it's brown, lay down. If it's white, good night. It's
Yeah.
a reference to black bears, brown bears, and polar bears.
Yeah, I've heard about that.
Yeah, bears are just if I'm scared of any animal, it's bears. Bears are just
Oh, hey,
them,
it
and I don't like pigs either.
reminds me of one thing I remember seeing about, I think it was over in Canada, with them pretty much trying to take everyone's guns away. To the point that, like, even if you own a black powder gun, oh no, you're a villain. Alright, where, well, like I said to one of my parents about it, right? At least here in Australia, there's not really anything you need a gun to defend yourself from besides other people. Right, so in terms of wildlife, you're pretty safe, because pretty much everything except saltwater crocs you can beat away with a stick. Meanwhile, in Canada, moose, bears, wolves, mountain lions, like, is there anything that can't kill you there?
Yeah, even their birds of prey are absolutely gigantic. They got golden and bald eagles over there, and I think Stellar Sea Eagle.
Oh, and don't forget, what's it called? Don't they get polar bears there in some parts?
I think you gotta go. No, I could be wrong. I'm not sure.
Hang on.
You also got like one of the largest mustelids up there too. You got the wolverines up in Canada.
Hang on, are there polar bears in Australia? That's something someone actually Googled?
Could you imagine someone just driving out in the dirt, just a desert, and just look, a polar bear. 3 miles back, I just saw a kangaroo hop across the road.
Jesus fuck. Could you imagine being able to... it actually reminds me of one sighting I remember hearing of big cats in Australia, where apparently this couple of women, they were taking a train ride, and I think they said their friend was from the US, right? And their friend looked out the window and went, "Oh, I didn't know you had big cats in Australia." Then they said, they're like, "Hang on, wait, what?" And they're looking out the train to see if they can spot it.
Oh wow.
Now I know something I can say to tourists around here. "Oh, didn't know we had polar bears around here." What should all turn quickly? Wait, what?
But what? I don't even know where I'm at.
I love
Yeah,
that. What is
and
that?
the thing is your large mammals are like
Yeah.
not even from. They're like what? You guys got camels somehow, right?
Yeah.
And then you've got
Water buffalo and horses.
yeah, almost all you guys. That sucks, man.
All our large animals here are invasive.
Well, there was at one point they were talking about putting rhinos over in Australia to save some of the last remaining rhinos.
Yeah.
Did you ever hear about that?
Yeah, I heard about that. We see people call it ridiculous, but I can sort of see why they thought of that. Would it really work? I don't know. I'm not really sure what to think.
You could almost do that with something that's a little more on the fragile side of the spectrum. It's nothing like it's a cat. So when a cat is so insanely adaptable, you can, once they're like dug in like ticks, you get them in there. It's like the Burmese pythons in Florida. You're not going to ever be able to get those out of there. They're stuck in there. You're never going to be able to get them out, no matter how many you kill.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
I'm imagining you guys have the same issue with cane toads and stuff.
There's
But
all
rhinos,
sorts of stuff here.
you can contain them into a relatively small area.
Yeah, not just that, but if they ever became invasive and they just started rapidly breeding, you could just ship them all off to Africa. And then when Africa's had its thing of rhinos, well, rhinos are easy to hunt now, aren't they? And it reminds me of one thing, well, I remember saying on some live stream I joined once about large herbivores in Australia, where you should just give everyone guns and put a bounty on them. Because the thing is that these animals can't breed quickly, they can't adapt quickly. So you just simply shoot them all out and decrease their numbers. They're not going to be able to bounce back quickly.
Yeah, I bet you anything there's a good chance of that happening. And plus, it's awfully barren in most parts of Australia, right? You guys got some kind of like dry forest in certain areas, and then if you need to find them, they're not going to be too terribly hard to find. As in, like the El Chapo or whoever it was that had like hippos get loose in like Central America, and they haven't been able to get them out of there. I don't think they've really hunted them much at all. They ain't killed anybody yet, or they haven't killed anybody yet.
I love one thing I came across some Twitter page called Herbivorized Predators, where their thing was like, oh, if you herbivorize the predators, then no animal maulings. Right, you're not going to get attacked by them. You do understand that hippos kill like 500 people a year?
I hear people say that crap.
And then, well, most of the most aggressive animals out there are herbivores.
Well, look at water buffalo. Water buffalo, they're up there with like hippos on some areas of being the most lethal animal or mammal in Africa.
I mean, have you seen what kangaroos do? I mean, as far as I know, there's not many recorded instances of kangaroos killing people. I mean, we just had our first death last year in 100 years, right, from a kangaroo. And, but you notice that they'll be happy to kick people around. You can find compilations online of kangaroos
probably deserved
attacking.
it.
Yeah. Well, I love one I remember seeing where it was just someone bending down at the water and the kangaroo just stood up and kicked him.
Don't touch the wildlife, motherfucker.
In Australia, the wildlife touches you.
It's like when you see those videos of people go to Yellowstone National Park, and like, oh, I'm gonna go touch this buffalo. I'm gonna go touch a bison, and they get yeeted 25 feet in the air.
I saw a clip of that the other day, where it was these people running, where they tried to get a selfie of one of these bison, and then it just turned on them, and they're running. You see two people manage to get out of the way, but the other one cops it up the arse.
Well,
yeah.
And there was a
What are these people
I could find it. There was a video of some people. It was like, I don't know, like 6 or 8 people, and they had given this little girl a handful of grass or hay or whatever, but they were standing in a road feeding a adult female moose, and the poor kid got clobbered. I don't know if she's dead, but I think she's all right. But
oh god,
there's just some things you just don't do, and unfortunately, that your kid gets smashed because you're an idiot. And
Honestly,
there was a video of someone setting their kid on like a sea lion that was basking, and that sea lion like grabbed her shirt and tossed her like a good 5 feet.
Yeah. I mean, just... It reminds me of one thing I remember my dad said to me about, like, building codes and stuff. Like, in the olden days, it was just natural selection. But no, now the stupid survive.
Well, you gotta take warning labels off of stuff.
Well, I love Ricky Gervais's comment about, like, oh, should we have a referendum? You know, we have labels on containers of bleach still saying, do not drink. Let's take those labels off, then have a referendum. I don't think that's...
Go eat your pod tides, kids.
Go eat your Tide Pods, scull down that bleach, and, I don't know, then just snort asbestos or something.
There you go.
Here's your alternative to cocaine.
No, that rat poisoning's edible. You're fine.
Hang on.
That's not a picture of a dead rat on it.
Someone called Soot just put in the comments, there are videos of tourists taking pictures with black bears. Yeah, I remember seeing an image of that, but I think it was out of a brown bear. Or it might have been one of those black bears where it was brown.
Cinnamon colored, yeah.
And I love the dude commentating this, right? Joey B. Toons is his name. And I remember he went like, what did you expect it to do? It's a wild animal. What, did you think he was gonna pose with your selfie and make duck clips?
It took me a minute.
You can imagine that already. Selfie, and you see it with this horrifying smile full of teeth.
Oh, God.
And then after she's posted it to her Instagram with all the pics of her ass, then it mauls her.
How do I look in this? You look like you're about to get eaten.
You look like a tasty snack.
And not the good kind. Well, good for the bear, but...
I love it when you see these idiots just playing around with wildlife. I feel like this should actually be encouraged, right? Just as like our version of natural selection. And we should do the same with people taking selfies on the edges of cliffs. Imagine
yeah,
how...
real shame if a gust of wind came by and...
or,
Oops.
you know, you misjudged the distance between your foot and the ledge.
It's like watching those golden eagles like take sheep and just fling them off a cliff. You're lucky golden eagles don't normally eat people.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like they should just encourage this sort of stuff just to weed out the stupids of the population. Because really, does there need to be 8 billion people?
No, absolutely not.
I know that's like sort of ignorant to say, because then there's going to be people who are going to be sat back like, oh, what about you? Who needs you? Why should you live? But at the same time, it's like, why should you live?
Right.
Because really,
No.
there are... You just look at some of these people and it's like, had they survived to adulthood?
Yeah, I imagine that, I don't know if I'll see it or if my kids will see it or any other person I know will see it. But I think it's coming.
Yeah. I mean, I love one comment, I think it was from Joey B. Toons on his own podcast, Joey B. Toons versus the World, where it was something, where he showed off, like, some SoundCloud rapper, and, right, why is it that all these rappers have, voices that make them sound like they have no mind at all? Like, they sound absolutely empty. But anyway, right, the dude sat there going on about whatever, and I love... Right, he just pauses the video and he goes, this dude drives, he owns a house, and he breathes. And he's someone's neighbour
my
too.
damn oxygen.
I love it. He just goes, and he breathes.
A tree worked really hard to give you oxygen, and this is how you use it?
I'm gonna produce the most heinous shit we call rap. How is it recognized as a music genre? Like,
before you're allowed to breed. I agree with that. So,
like, yeah, I think I'm just gonna continue listening to Battle Beast, Sabaton, and anyone else in that sort of parallel genre instead.
Yep. Metal's where it's at. You listen to anything else, you're wrong.
I love that one video I posted of listening to the vegan teacher's music, where I just left a comment on there saying, listening to Power Metal instead, I recommend Sabaton, Powerwolf, Beast in Black, Battle Beast, and Civil War. That's the most thumbed up comment on the video.
That lady, man. Ooh. Something else. That's a weird...
You should definitely...
Would you consider that an extreme? Or do you think... I think people look at that and that's like, can I get worse than this? I know people are setting new levels to, like, stupidity. And I think that one may be a kind of hard to top.
But yeah. Well, hey, I remember watching something about her where I remember just the dude went... There's going to be some point where this is going to come... Well, you hope there's going to be some point where it's going to come out that this is all an act on her part. Personally, I don't think so. But we'll have to wait and see.
You know she's making a killing doing what she's doing money-wise. I bet she's somehow hacked the system somewhere with someone, and they've donated their life savings to her, and there's probably a little cult of them somewhere. Like, you know what? We need to fund this lady's crazy.
I think she has a Patreon, and on there's a Discord server. It might be interesting to try joining that Discord server just to see what sort of stuff is posted.
Hold on, I'm gonna see. It's vegan teacher, right?
Yeah.
Check something.
I take 500 milligrams of Tylenol after hearing her sing. She's intolerable. This should be considered a war crime. Isn't torture already a war crime?
Okay, so she has 17 posts on her Patreon. Her official Patreon is $2.50. Her VIP Patreon is $20. And I'm trying to find how many members.
$20 US. That's more than a Netflix subscription. Or at least here.
Yeah, you're right. Hold on, it should show how many people follow her, right?
I'd much rather just watch all the shit Netflix puts out than whatever propaganda she's shoving down people's throats.
Yeah, I want my... What is it? What's the new Snow White actor lineage?
I think her name's Rachel Zegler.
Yeah, I would rather... I don't know. I don't think I'd rather watch that. I didn't like Snow White to begin with. The original one.
So this would just be torture to watch when it comes out?
Yeah. I'll get a brain aneurysm, my nose would bleed, and I'd pass away and die. That's how I feel about reading a lot of the comments I see on, like, anything related to T-Rex versus Spinosaurus.
Same thing for me with the lion versus tiger videos and stuff. Like, this comparison has been going on since ancient Rome. Why are you still talking about it? Just like, let it die.
That's... Everyone wants to see everything fight something. Like, can this get beaten?
Yeah.
Kaiju aren't real, so we're gonna make animals.
Yeah.
That used to exist or exist now fight. We've been vegan that long. Yeah.
All you hear is Dreadnought from Sabaton start playing as you have the Dreadnoughtus fight from Prehistoric Planet.
What'd you think about that? The whole inflatable neck sack thing?
I really wish the show was much more, not just a nature documentary, but, you know, was actually more scientific. Like, sort of what Planet Dinosaur did. Where it would actually, like, show off the fossil evidence, or, like, it would just stick to the science a little more.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, I just felt like that was just speculation getting too wild in the case of those neck balloons. I mean, one thing I think people forget, right, is that, or at least what I think the producers forgot with that, is that this is meant to be showing off what dinosaurs were really like, a new and revolutionary way, the way that science understands them currently. You do understand that by doing that, most people are going to interpret everything you show as being real. So for me, it's one of those things where you should roll back the speculation a little. You can have some, just don't go too crazy.
I think that one right there was, I kind of looked at that and kind of like how maybe you did. I kind of squinted my eyes and said, "Wait a second, hold on, we need, where did this come from?" kind of thing. And that was really the only thing that I had a problem with Prehistoric Planet. I think there may have been another one. I need to probably go through the second season again and check it out.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, speculation can be good, but just what the fuck?
Yeah, that one was definitely out there, and I'm all for speculation as long as it doesn't go to batshit crazy stuff. That right there was right. That one right there was kind of riding the line. They took too much from modern day animals and kind of maybe they shouldn't have done it with that one.
Yeah, like I feel like that should have just been left to like some speculation on an artwork thing by like Mark Whitten or someone.
Dougal Dixon.
Yeah, something like that. That's how it should have been. Like limit it to Nature's and what was it? C.M. Cozeman's book. All Yesterdays, was it? John Conway, I think, also helped out with that book.
It was Dougal Dixon. I thought had an All Yesterdays, and he had like the.
I think he had
was
like
it All Yesterdays.
I think he had a trilogy. Like he had All Yesterdays, All Todays, and All Tomorrows.
And he had something dinosaur. The oh man, damn it, I can't think of it.
That dude's written a lot of books.
Yeah, he's also got his own book on Sorvaganics.
Oh yeah, I came across that the other day when I was helping you out searching for sources.
Yeah. And no, I outside of the neck sacks on the Dreadnoughtus, I thought it's a really good documentary.
Again, like speculation can be good and all, but yeah, that's getting ridiculous.
So, what are your biggest pet peeves when it comes to paleo art? That right there, I guess.
Just when speculation gets too wild. Mm-hmm. I mean, I remember reading something, I think it was in Everhart's book, Oceans of Kansas, where he said right there, these weird rings, fossilized rings that were found with a couple mosasaur specimens, they were interpreted as being like these weird sails on the back, but later turned out I think they were part of the trachea instead. And what this led to be is that when Charles Knight made his reconstruction of Tylosaurus, I think it was, then everyone started having this weird sail spine sort of thing down the back of mosasaurs. Just because, well, Charles Knight was a popular paleo artist at the time, and, scientists reconstructed it like this, so it must be the case. If I'm correctly, like a decade later, the scientists did actually put out a note saying that that was a mistake, but no, it continued up until the early 2000s. So like 100-something years went by before anyone realised that was a mistake, despite him putting out a thing at the time saying a mistake. And then I remember Everhart saying one part about mosasaur tails, where he said it started out as like a little bit of speculation of maybe they had these tails because an eel-like tail like they traditionally depicted as having isn't really that good. it's not good for propulsion. So then people just started scribbling all sorts of junk on as mosasaur tails, like these upside down shark fin things you see in Prehistoric Planet. And like I remember him saying, it's just a case of, well, it wasn't confirmed at the time, so don't do it. Or at least limit it in terms of speculation, but no, the whole paleo art community was going crazy with mosasaur tails. And then, when they finally found a mosasaur with this sort of similar tail configuration, then everyone was scribbling it on mosasaurs. When, like he said, he'd be a bit more conservative about it, and the fact that you'd probably find it was only some. Like some earlier ones, in my opinion at least, probably wouldn't have. But then later on, that shark fin tail would come along.
Huh. I remember seeing a lot of those drawings like that. I think there was one with the mosasaur or tylosaur or whatever it was. It like caught a pteranodon and it had that long sail running down the back. Oh, I didn't know about that. Like the rest of it. I think some of the paleo art, like from, you know, before the kangaroo stances for like the theropods and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot of that stuff is really cool. I think it's like, it's kind of more of like a see how far we've come, and just kind of neat to look back and see like, wow, man, we totally hit the mark with some of these, and like Stegosaurus was once bipedal or something. It was.
I love one of the comments someone made of Parasaurolophus breathing fire. If I remember correctly, that came from a young Earth creationist doing it.
I think that's was part or paired with a Carnotaurus eating some branches from a tree.
I remember actually coming across a book about that, where I think it was called something like Fire-Breathing Dinosaurs, the weird and wacky history of creationist claims about dinosaurs. I remember actually thinking of getting that book, and I remember, didn't really have any money of my own, so I was just sat there like, okay, let's see if we can find it and get it for you. We googled it, and on Amazon it was like $100 US, and I think it was like $200 US, and we just looked and went, okay, never mind.
And all those proceedings were probably going through a church. So yeah, it when it comes to like religion and stuff, it's kind of like I have a good majority of my friends are, you know, go to church every Sunday and Wednesday and this, that, and the other, and you know they kind of know what I do. I talk about dinosaurs and this, that, and the other, and they try to like throw their thoughts and ideas and stuff at me, and I just sit there and I nod my head because I'm not gonna argue with you, kind of thing.
So that makes me wonder, can I find it? Fire-breathing dinosaurs. Yeah, keep talking.
But yeah, I totally, you know, I respect my buddies, and I respect, you know, as long as you're not being a dick about it, you know, you can tell me all your stories you want. But it's weird because I don't know. I like to argue with people, but like, I don't know. You take it with a grain of salt. Sorry if I'm rambling a bit more. About bedtime for me.
I was about to say it's starting to probably get a bit late for you, so best to finish up wrapping up the stream soon. Okay, I just found the book. One's available on Amazon for $154 Australian. The hilarious history of creationist pseudoscience at its silliest.
They've basically just modernized the Parasaurolophus on there. Just, yeah, well, kind of modernized it.
I remember seeing something of, apparently it was also proposed for Dinosuchus, I think. Actually, I wonder, is this book on archive? It's probably not, due to how recent it is, but might as well check. Please be on there? No. Damn it. I want it.
Yeah, so exactly. The same church that has the Noah's Ark exhibit with the dinosaurs. Also, that comment you made about the 16 nut sacks on the Dreadnoughtus is where you draw the line. You counted them?
16 nutsacks. Jesus Christ, that's a comment. 16 nutsacks. But yeah, I think this is probably a good point to wrap up the stream, since, well, it's very late for you. When did we start? Like, what, 7 for you?
Yeah,
Now,
7.
the stream's been going for nearly 4 hours, 10 minutes.
Yep, 10:25 p.m. here.
Good lord.
Alrighty, man, yeah.
Yeah, see you next time we talk or whenever.
Yeah, for sure. Had fun. Thanks for having me on.
Indeed. Should do that podcast thing someone suggested of just you, me, and Gecko talking about dinosaur sex. Next minute,
I don't know about the
we'll watch channel
dinosaur
show up in
sex
view.
stuff.
I think there's actually a book you can find on Amazon about it.
Add to wish list.
Welcome to the internet.
Alright,
But yeah, see ya.
Yeah, man, thanks.
Right.